Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Thank you very much for attending this morning's event, Marketing Techniques and Social Networking, How to Connect with Your Customers. We have three very dynamic speakers today. I'm Deborah Hoffman, Director of Economic Development for Passaic County, New Jersey. I really welcome you this morning. And before we get started, I want to introduce a fabulous freeholder, Hector Lora, who will come on up and just give you a quick welcome. Thank you, freeholder, for attending.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. As Deborah mentioned, I'm freeholder Hector Lora, and on behalf of the Passaic County Board of Chosen Freeholders, I want to welcome you to this seminar targeted to assist the Passaic County business communities. I was really excited about participating in this specific seminar just because of the importance of learning marketing and how it impacts business. You know, I'm reminded of when I first fell in love with the idea of marketing and advertisement. I was a young man, and I used to like watching TV. And there were two programs that really impacted me. It was Bewitched and Who's the Boss? I don't know how many of you remember that. So when I was a kid, I had dreams that when I would grow up, I would start this advertisement company, and it would be called Bauer and Stevens. And people would ask, why is the young Hispanic gentleman from Passaic, whose last name Lora, has a firm called Bauer and Stevens? And I would explain to them why it is. I would tell them that when I was a kid, I would watch this show, and on Bewitched, the husband's name was Darren Stevens. And Darren would have to come up with these pitches, these presentations to advertisement firm, and he had this rule with his wife. He would tell her no magic, right? No magic. He would have to do it on his own. This was his conviction. And that impacted me so much as a young man because it spoke to me regarding the fact that human creativity has a magic all of its own, right? And if you can just trigger and unleash the amazing potential of human creativity, there really are no limits. And then obviously with Who's the Boss, Angela Bauer. She had the same job where she would have to do the presentation, and throughout the 30 minutes, she would sit there and present, and you would go through the show, and at the end, she came up with an idea. And that was so important to me, and it really just, it inspired me. So I had applied to Seton Hall University and got into the Stillman School of Business, and I went for marketing. And a long time after, I got my dream and worked in marketing and development at St. Mary's Hospital, where I was there for 15 years as the public health and patient liaison working in the community. That's why I was so honored and privileged when Deb asked me to speak here, because it's so important, marketing, in regards to businesses. In today's world, it is necessary that we understand the newest technologies in regards to promoting businesses. In times past, it was so easy to advertise a company. I mean, if you had a catchy jingle, right, no matter how annoying it was, it would stick in people's heads and they would remember the brand or the company. Or if you just had a strong family name to your company, then people would remember that and they would go. And that was enough, a good reputation. But in today's age, a good reputation is not enough. A catchy jingle, a clever pitch, a funny commercial, it's not enough. Because today's age, people want to interact. They want to know. And that's why this seminar is so important. Marketing techniques and social networking. How to connect with your customers. Because that's what people are looking for. How do I connect with your business? Can I get on your website? Can I interact with you? Will you send me emails and updates? And that's what makes the difference for small businesses, for startups. Because whether you are marketing, healthcare, construction, or financial services, the goals remain the same. It's to increase sales, to attract customers, and to keep the ones that you already have. And the unique challenges that we face today are made harder with social media because some people ignore it. And the truth is that social media is this amazing phenomenon that everyone has to deal with. There are businesses that exist solely on social media. And this is why this seminar is so important, and I'm so enthusiastic and excited about seeing the exceptional speakers that will present the information that we have before us today. Because marketing makes a difference. It doesn't matter how great your product is. In fact, if you have a wonderful product, if you have an amazing service, but no marketing and no way to get it out, at best, ideally, what you will have is the greatest product or service that the world will never know about. That's why marketing is so vitally important. And that's why I'm so glad to be up here with Deborah Hoffman. I work with her in Passaic County. She's our Director of Economic Development. And consistently, I see her reach out and be proactive to the small businesses around the community. She comes back to the freeholders and sees how we can connect, how we can improve communications and get information out. Because that's the real challenge. The real challenge is getting the information out, letting people know what is the product, what is the service. I know this from a personal experience as an elected official. Many of the services on the county, people are not familiar with. Heck, I'll be honest, some people don't even know what a freeholder is. So we may need to increase the marketing there. And I know that there's individuals that can support me on this. We have the councilwoman from West Milford and Councilman Jimenez from Wayne. Oftentimes, what they're interested is, how do I get the information of services? How do I get products out to the community? How do I get our constituents to know what we have available? So I'm really excited to hear about the new techniques and strategies that we can all take back, regardless to what field or what walk of life we're in. You know, when I looked up at William Paterson University's website, I saw this slogan, or rather this quote, and it impacted me. It reads something like, and I'll try to remember, I don't know if I'll get it verbatim, but it says, there is a moment that exists between the person that you are and the person that you will be. I think that applies so much here. There's a moment that exists between the business that you are and the business that you will be, and within that moment is how you will market yourself, how you will get the information out to the community. Again, on behalf of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, which is made up of our Director, Pat Lepore, our Deputy Director, T.J. Theodore Bess, our freeholders, Terry Duffy, Bruce James, Rhonda Contronio, and John Bartlett, we're really excited to be a partner up with everyone to present this. We have a wonderful freeholder board. I mentioned about marketing. If you guys go online, you might be able to get to know a little bit more about the freeholders. I'll break it down a little bit for you. Terry, John, and Bruce are the tall ones. Me and Pat, we're the not so tall ones. Freeholder Bess is the sharpest dresser and among the sharpest minds. And Freeholder Rhonda Contronio is the best looking and probably the smartest. So that's the best marketing I can do in regards to our freeholder board. And I want to share just a few more things before I close up, is, again, just emphasizing how important marketing is. I had read this story, a line that impacted me. I thought it was kind of funny. I know you gave me a brief time. I don't want to take too much of your time. But I thought, you have to know your audience, the demographics that you're dealing with, your product. And I read this story of a city man who wanted to take a vacation. And he went off to the country. And he wanted to experience everything in the country so he can go back to the city and boast to his colleagues of how he mastered all the things of the country. And the first thing on his list was to go fishing. So he rented all the equipment, he got on the boat, and he went into the water. As he's in there, he sees what I can only best describe as an old country man. And he was on his boat with a mirror, and he was shining the sun on top of the water. Well, the city man was perplexed. This was kind of odd. So he rowed his boat up to him and asked him, "Sir, what are you doing?" He was curious. And the country fisherman said, "Well, what I do is I take this mirror and I use the glare of the sun and I put it on the top of the water, and the fish, they're attracted to him. When they jump up, I grab it and put it in the boat." Well, he was intrigued and fascinated. He said, "This is amazing. What a wonderful strategy. But I don't have a mirror." So the countryman said, "That's pretty bad." And he said, "Well, I'll buy yours. I'll give you $50. And he said, "Sure." So he gave him the mirror. Before he rode off, he said, "Just out of curiosity, how many fish have you caught with this technique?" And he said, "Well, you're the sixth one this week." That man knew how to market a mirror. May not have been that ethical, but he knew how to market a mirror. So I wanted to share that with you because it's very important that we know that the product can be good, but how we present it, understanding our environment, and adapting to the culture. This is a new generation that we face, and again, as I mentioned before, it was easy to just have a nice jingle, a great pitch, a wonderful presentation. But today's generation, they want to interact. They want to receive information. They want to speak about the website. They want to say it's easily accessible. And over the years, we have seen how individuals, leaders of industries, have been able to not only adapt, but capitalize on the opportunities of change of the generation. So if we are to get anything out of this seminar, I would hope that we get that, the hope, the excitement, to be inspired to say the changes that we face, They're not to be impediments, but rather stepping stones to new opportunities for our business to get out throughout the county. I want to specifically thank, and I'm just going to look down so I can remember, it's Video Marketing Group and Graystack Digital Marketing. I want to especially thank you and highlight you for getting the food, because, no, for being here, of course. But the only thing I love more than early morning long seminars are food to eat, so I very much like that. And I obviously want to thank William Paterson University for hosting this wonderful seminar and for having us here. I'm very excited. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. I have to introduce Sally. Okay. Thank you, Freeholder, very, very much for those welcoming remarks. I'm never going to be writing your welcoming remarks again. I gave them like 3 lines. I'm very boring. It's now my pleasure, though, to introduce Bernadette Tiernan, the Director of Continuing Education, right, for William Paterson University, to welcome us to the university. Bernadette.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to William Paterson University. Thank you so much, Freeholder, for your welcoming remarks. And I would have to say that I've never enjoyed opening remarks as much as I enjoyed yours this morning. And you certainly did extend a warm welcome to everybody. And most of all, by letting everybody know that you understand where they're coming from and you understand what motivated them to come here today. So thank you. And I love to spend a lot of time telling you all about William Paterson University, but I'll just give you the key points. We have an undergraduate and graduate population of over 11,000 students, and this building is the home to our Cotsacos College of Business, as well as continuing and professional education, and our College of Education. So many of the future leaders of this county, the state, and the country, and globally are being educated here today while we're in the auditorium. You better watch out, because the College of Business is going to come after you. With that understanding of marketing, you may be a very good guest lecturer. So we'll make sure that we connect you. Our group with continuing professional education can help you within your business by helping you grow your business in a number of different ways through training your staff. And we hope you'll keep us in mind, because we can also be the conduit for you to other parts of the university. This building has a beautiful trading center with a simulated financial center, like get a taste of Wall Street. And then we also have the Russ Berry Institute for Professional Sales, where there are individual rooms for videotaping people as they do presentations so that they can be coached in improving their selling skills. So we hope you enjoyed the presentations this morning. I'm so excited that Sally is going to be our first speaker, because Sally Glick is also going to be honored as an award winner of our Legacy Awards at William Paterson University. As an outstanding contributor from the community. She's been a longtime friend of the university's, very active in the community, and I know you're going to enjoy hearing from her. I'd like here on the side, I'd like to just point out Kate Muldoon, who is our Small Business Development Center Director at William Paterson University for the Passaic County region. And she's here to answer any specific questions that you have about your business. So welcome to the university. Thank you for being here, and it's going to be a great morning.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you so much. Everyone's made my job much easier today, since everyone's welcomed everyone. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. So now we're going to get into our fabulous presentations. Okay. So it's my honor to introduce Sally Glick. She's a principal of the firm and chief growth strategist at Sebel & Company. In that role, she's responsible for the development and implementation of the firm's branding, marketing, communications, and business development strategies. She's a leader in her field and has been named Accounting Marketer of the Year for 2003, listed on Accounting Today's list of top 100 most influential people in accounting for several years, has the honor of being the first non-CPA woman to appear on the cover of Practical Accountant, and was inducted into the Association for Accounting Marketing's Hall of Fame. Sally was selected as one of New Jersey Biz top 50 women in business, and in 2010 she was named the Garden State Foundation's Woman of the Year Professional Services category. She continues to reap in awards and accolades. And as Bern says, she's going to be honored at the William Pass University April 2014 Gala by the foundation, actually. And it's a Legacy Award honoree for friendship and community leadership. I think that's pretty exciting. Sally also serves on local and national boards, including being the first ever executive vice president of New Jersey's Association of Corporate Growth, as well as the VP of marketing for the group. Sally, why don't you come up, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi, now that you expect the best. Freeholder, I just wanted to tell you, I'm from Chicago, and we call them freeloaders there, so I wasn't really sure what a freeholder was. It's a whole different area, I guess. And thank you also for giving my presentation. Now, for the next half hour, actually, it's great that you said all the things you said, because what I'm going to do is confirm all of that in my next 30 minutes. What I believe marketing is about, basically, is good common sense. Unfortunately, sometimes common sense is not all that common, and so you need reminding. But at the end of the day, it is going to be the things that you do well and the things that your customers most need. And when you put those together, you have a winning combination. We'll talk about how you can do that. And you'll notice in the topic here, it's attract and retain, exactly what you said. It's not just getting great clients to or customers to want to connect with you, but keeping them and sustaining those relationships. Okay. I'd like to ask a quick question before I tell you what I was hoping to accomplish today, and that is, how many of you actually own your own business right now? Great. And how many of you are here because you'd like to own a business someday? Great. So this is mostly for an entrepreneur, someone who's about to start up an emerging business, or someone who already has a business ongoing, to refresh and remind you of the various things you need to do to get back to your core purpose and thinking strategically. Whenever I have the privilege, and Bernadette and Deb and Kate also, thank you for that and for inviting me here. Whenever I've had this, I think this is 3 or 4 years that I've had the chance to do this, and I appreciate that each and every time. I have a set of goals myself. I come here because I want to be a resource for you, and I want to be able to help you develop that strategic marketing plan. I could have left that word out. I could have said, let's talk about developing your marketing plan. I specifically have the word strategic in there because it elevates it to a different level. What often happens to an entrepreneur or someone who's very excited about a specific skill or service or product that they're able to offer is you get into the business. Someone says, wow, you make the greatest pies I've ever tasted, or you're the greatest gardener I've ever worked with. And so you start your own company. You've got this wonderful, unique opportunity, and you want to flourish and be your own boss. The challenge is you stop thinking strategically. You get so immersed in building a business and in just putting out fires and reacting every day that you don't always have the time to stop, sit back, and think intentionally about your purpose and what you're trying to do. So I'm going to urge you all, at whatever stage you're in your business, if you haven't got one or you have one, if you're thinking about one, if you're just enjoying the job you currently have and want to do it better and bring a more consistent marketing process to the company you work for, think strategically some of the time. Yes, you can't always fly at 30,000 feet. Someday you have to land and actually do the work that you're thinking about. But if you're not thinking strategically at the outset, it makes it much more difficult for you to find your way. So I recommend that. I also want to help you think about and understand what your customers most value. It's not only what you have, but what they need and want. And sometimes we don't ask. I worked with a CPA firm at one point that was doing a satisfaction survey. And they asked their clients, do we respond swiftly? And the answer was yes, and they felt really good about the survey. They never asked the question, do we initiate a conversation with you? They asked a different question, and it wasn't necessarily the thing that the clients most valued. Their clients were looking for them to be proactive, and they were being very responsive in a reactive fashion. So I'm going to help you at least think strategically about what do my customers and clients need. And then I have help you understand how and when to use the marketing mix. And I have that word mix italicized for emphasis. And I take to heart very much, sir, the things that you said about today's technology. And the only thing I will caution everyone to do is think about the fact that you need a balance. There are a variety of tools and resources today that have never been available before. Sometimes it is that jingle, sometimes it's the tweet. But in any event, it's the mix of things that you're using together that enable you really, in an integrative fashion, to be strategic about attracting the attention of, attracting clients, and then keeping them, customers and clients as well. And help you build that strong name recognition that you so deserve, which helps you to do all of the other things very well. That name recognition, no one here, I shouldn't say that, it is possibly not likely, it is potentially not likely that no one's got the next great, Amazon idea or Dell or Nike, and possibly you do. So I'm not discouraging you in any way. In fact, I'm inspiring you to think to the highest levels you can get. But in the event that that's not what you're at, what you can certainly think about is becoming famous in your space. Not everybody is going to be famous around the world or even throughout all of New Jersey. But if you own your space, if your name becomes gold, if people say, I know those guys, they are great at what they do. I sat down next to a person at a networking event, and I said, oh, what do you do? And he told me it was a very interesting business, and I said, that just sounds great. Who's your accounting firm? Have to ask, it's my job. And he mentioned another competitor, and he said, I love them. And I thought, how fabulous is that? I hope when someone sits down next to one of our clients and says, who do you use? And they say, oh, I use Sebel Company, I love them. So I don't need to be famous across the country, but I'd really like everybody in the space that we serve to know and respect our name. And that's what I'd like to have happen for you as well. Those were my goals. What I'd like to know is, what are your goals? So before I go too much further down the path, I would love to hear if anybody has an idea of something that they'd particularly like to get out of today, out of the talk about integrated marketing and being more strategic. If you want to just shout it out or tell me what you were hoping to get, I'd hate to have you leave and say, I didn't get my question answered, or that didn't touch me where it need, that didn't touch the points I was most concerned about. Anybody have anything other than what I've already suggested that they'd like to see me cover as well? I am not from Bewitched. I do not have a silver bullet. I don't have a magical answer. I do believe that creativity can be magical. But I'm kind of getting the point when I go into the partner meetings in my office, and I have the privilege of being a partner there, and they say, okay, here's what we need. And I'm thinking, they're looking for magic. And it isn't always magic. Sometimes it's really hard, consistent work, sustainable over time. Processes and procedures that you put in place that help you build that name recognition and be that thought leader that you want to be recognized as. So the magic's great, but it's not always there.
One of my goals this year is to build bigger strategic relationships.
Bigger meaning deeper?
Larger companies. So like, an example would be Sherwin-Williams Paints and Regency Lighting. They're two of my clients, and I'm trying to build on that relationship.
And you're using them to help you do that?
Okay.
Great. Okay, and we will talk about that, how relationships, one can lead to another and help you make that happen. Great. Thank you, Phil. Anybody else? Okay, well, I'm just going to keep going, assuming my goals are your goals, and we'll see what happens. So for today's agenda, what I'd like to talk about first is to focus on your value proposition. Sometimes marketers use words over and over again. They've used top-of-mind awareness. They talk about value proposition. It's the vernacular of the industry. Every industry has their code words. In this instance, what I'm really trying to get at is just remember what it is that you do very well. Anybody ever read Jim Collins' Good to Great? Has heard him talk about the hedgehog principle in terms of what do you do very, very well? What do you have a passion for doing? And, oh, by the way, what helps you make a living? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's great to have a passion. It's great to have a skill. It's great to have a wonderful product, a wonderful service. But can you make money with that product and service and your passion? When those three pieces intersect, you have a terrific value proposition. And that's what I will encourage you to continue to think about and remind yourself about. Focusing on what your clients expect and value. As I said, it's really important to know, since you cannot be everything to everybody, figure out who you can serve and how you can serve them effectively. And build your plan around strengths and opportunities. There will be a slide, and we will talk a bit about when you're putting together that marketing plan, and I have a sample on the table out there, and I'm happy to email anybody other information if you need it at the conclusion. But one of the things that you talk about in a strategic analysis, a situational analysis, you start with what are my strengths and where are my greatest opportunities. That's fantastic. We then go on to where are some weaknesses I need to be concerned about and where are potential threats going to come down the line, so I'm constantly positioned and aware of what could overtake me or what could impact me. But nonetheless, when you're going forward in a business, particularly as a startup and even also as a more seasoned business owner, focus on those strengths and opportunities. Be aware always of the weaknesses you have, figure out perhaps ways to overcome them, ways to leverage them, but it's your strengths that have gotten you where you are today, and it's your strengths that you need to think about. We can get bogged down in trying to overcome all our weaknesses or watching for threats at every corner, and those are things to be aware of, but not to let them control you. And then we're going to review a range of marketing communication tactics. That's what everyone ultimately comes for, is what can I do? How can I apply something? What's the tangible idea that I'm going to leave today that you have given me that will help me build my business? So it's those communication tactics that everybody's aiming for. I, however, am going to put you through some other discussion first till we get there. I'm holding that off because once you get to the tactics, I want you to be thinking about why they're so important for you. I used the word strategic, as I mentioned earlier. That's because I'm not giving you a cookie-cutter approach. I am not telling you that what works for me at my firm works for every CPA firm. In fact, I have found that it doesn't work at all in other firms in the way it works for us. Each of you has your own unique personality, your own unique culture, your own unique offering. Bless you. And as such, your marketing plan needs to be built around you. So I have left a template to guide you in terms of your thinking, but every one of you, as you fill it out, will have a uniquely distinctive plan from everybody else sitting in the room. Don't do what everybody else is doing. This is about you. If you're doing what everybody else is doing, then there's nothing of value that you're adding that someone else isn't. Sometimes it's hard to know what are you doing differently. We are a small middle market CPA firm in Livingston. There are hundreds in New Jersey and thousands across the country. Perhaps it's our culture. Perhaps it's the way our managing partner addresses people and the sensitivity with which we approach our clients. Perhaps it's our fees. Perhaps it's our location. But there's something different about our firm than any other firm once you peel back some layers. We all sound the same in the original description and the demographics, but we're all different. So we don't market based on what all the other firms are doing. What is the best way to accomplish your goals? When you write that plan, you're going to think about your goals, and we'll talk about that. And your plan should reflect how you're going to do that. The plan should also address how you're going to address your customers' expectations, focus on your distinctive services, as I've said, and assessing what works and what doesn't. It's very tempting when you've gotten into something to want to continue it. You have an investment, you're excited about it, maybe it's your sacred cow, your favorite idea, and you own it. And after a few years, it's not working the way you thought. At some point, while you still need to be consistent, you need to try things and you need to give them time to catch on and build momentum. But at some point, again, using that one ingredient that everybody needs to have, which is called common sense, at some point you need to use your common sense and say, you know what? This just doesn't work. We've tried it repeatedly, we've given it time to evolve, it's not happening, we need to move on. And you pull the plug. It's very hard to do, it's very brave, but if you can, it's an important part of the ingredient. So where do you begin? You have a blank piece of paper in front of you, and you're trying to think about how you can create a good marketing plan. Knowing what you really do well, knowing what you're selling. That we talk about what are you actually selling, and I think it's Charles Revson, who began Revlon, who talked about he's not selling lipstick, he's selling hopes and dreams. You see that ad, and you see that glamorous woman, and you see her life rolling out in front of you, and you see the magical romance, and you think, I need that lipstick, right? So and I've tried that lipstick, folks. Not sure it's working, but that doesn't mean his plan's not good. And the point is, what is the real value that you're selling? What's behind the product? When we offer an audit or a compilation or a review or a tax return to our clients, they're really paying for business advice. They're paying for security. They're very confident that their tax return is not going to be, if it is audited, it's not going to be found inaccurate. So that we're selling security, we're selling safety, we're selling business advice, we're selling competitive advantages, all wrapped up in the guise of an audit or a review or a compilation or a tax return or some other cost segregation study, some other typical traditional product that a CPA firm has to offer. So think behind that. Think about what if you were on the other side of the table and you were the customer or client. What is it you would want from your provider? And if you're not sure, even though you're pretty confident you've got something great, you can form a focus group. I'm going to try to give you ideas today that cost very little or no money. One of the things we've done a lot at Sebel is create focus groups. At one point, we had 6 clients and 6 non-clients, hopefully someday to become clients, who are all family business owners. And we asked them, crazy question, what do you value? And at the end of the conversation, we were together about an hour, and it cost us bagels, because food works for almost everybody. And one of the things that we discovered was, over and over again, as we went down around the table, they said, we wish that people, accountants, lawyers, others involved in business strategy would stop saying to us, hey, what keeps you up at night? And would start saying to us, hey, you know what? This is what should keep you up at night. These are trends we're seeing. These are changes that are evolving. These are ideas of best practices that we're hearing from other customers and clients. So here's what we think you should be thinking about in addition. And are you thinking about that? And have you thought about that? And if not, why not? So they told me very clearly, they don't want me to come to them and say, what do you value? Or what are you worried about? They want me to come to them with ideas and be preemptive, be proactive. Think about them before they even come to us with a dire situation or a big question. That focus group helped us not rearrange the way we market and talk, rearrange the way we do business. So it's not just the message we're sending, but it's the actual delivery of what we have to offer. So ask people. They may tell you that they value a fair price or convenience, variety, a unique service, high quality, consistency. You ever go anywhere where the staff is just wonderful all the time? It's like you just can't wait to go back there. They're so pleasant. It's intangible, but it's one of the most valuable things you could have. The way your clients and customers are treated, both by you and everybody in your environment, in your enterprise, makes a huge difference. How responsive are you? How proactive are you? How good are you at giving personal attention? Those businesses that float to the top year after year after year, for places that are the best places to work or the best places to do business with, the Disneys of the world, the Ritz-Carltons of the world, they do that because they value personal attention more than anything. Anybody ever taken their kids or themselves to Orlando or to Disneyland in California? When they talk about a magical kingdom, the thing that's most important is the way you're treated. Absolutely anybody can go to an amusement park, and maybe the rides are better somewhere else, maybe things are cheaper somewhere else, but nobody treats you the way they treat you in Disneyland. I once had the experience of being with someone who told me a story. They had gone with their 2 children. They were in line waiting for popcorn on a hot day. Anybody ever had 2 children? They push each other. Shove, push, get on each other's nerves, whatever. If you tell them your kids don't do that, I'm telling you, good for you, and you're in la la land. So I've been there with children. I've been there with grandchildren. They push, they shove. They got to the front of the line. The little girl got her popcorn. Her brother shoved her by the elbow, and the popcorn spilled all over. The father was standing behind going, I cannot believe this. And in 2 seconds, out of nowhere, materialized someone from the Disney staff who cleaned it up, walked to the head of the line, said to, because of course she'd already stepped out of line, the next person was being served, said to the provider, this young lady spilled her popcorn, we need more. Got a fresh container immediately. They are given, all of their staff are given a discretionary amount to spend throughout the day when they think it's necessary on a client, which is you as the guest at Disney. Got her that popcorn, and the person I was talking to, the dad said, if the whole thing took 2 minutes, it was a miracle. I think it was less than that. Cleaned up, popcorn done, crying over, and off to the next ride. When they got done, and they remembered Disney, and the Visa bill came a month later, and it was a fortune, all he had was happy memories. Because that personal experience, the CEO at the top is not running around all over Disney making sure everybody's treated right. They've picked the right people to send the right message and give that personal attention. So never underestimate the importance of all those things. That's where you begin. What's your next step? When you write your plan, know what you're aiming for. Have some thought in mind. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm not saying that you need to know, I want to have $15,000 or $15 million or whatever your number is in annual sales this year, and oh my gosh, I better get there. Common sense prevails. But have some kind of a goal. Working with your accountant, working with a business advisor, get an idea, get a projection, have a forecast. Don't approach this as if it's a hobby. Know what you want to accomplish if you're going to go into business or if you're in business. What does that next level look like? Someone says, I want to take it to the next level. What is that next level? How do you know when you've gotten to the next level? Do you want to just have a greater geographic footprint, which will ultimately drive more sales? Do you want to have a new product or a new service line that you're suddenly going to add to the things you're already doing while staying focused on your core competency and while not trying to be all things to all people? Sometimes you do need that expansion of your product or service line. Think about how you can do that, and that's part of your growth. And how do you want to grow? Think about that as well. If you're a startup, it might just be organic. You know, you just want to sort of start out, see what you're doing, see how many customers you can attract. You may be in a position where acquiring a smaller company in your area that complements what you're already doing is an opportunity. Maybe you've already had an alliance, a strategic connection, we'll talk about that a bit, and then you've moved that on to a further opportunity where you've acquired them, or where you've been acquired, where you realize that coming together, two organizations are more powerful than one, and perhaps a merger, and perhaps all of them are actually the way you need to go. But think about what you're trying to, how you're trying to grow, and what you're going to do to make that possible. It's easy for me to have the title at Sebel and Company of Chief Growth Strategist. Sounds fantastic. It's not so great. Don't ask for it in your place of business. Because you know what, it's accountable. Did we grow is the question at the end of every year. Did we grow? And so you need to know where you're trying to get, so you'll need to know when you get there. I mentioned that I thought everyone should, at some point, with some regularity, whether this is annually or whether this is every other year, because situations change pretty quickly, so I would suggest no less than annually, that you conduct a SWOT analysis. And of course, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Marketing professional over here knows that very well. And I said focus on your strengths, focus on your opportunities, know what you do well and what that will create for you in terms of the outside environment that you're trying to build. But be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, this can't work. I was once working with a nonprofit, and the CEO asked me to give them some help in marketing their brand, their mission, getting more donors, more constituents, more volunteers. And she said, where should I start? And I said, let's always start with a SWOT analysis. Tell me your strengths. Long list. Tell me your weaknesses. One or two things we could improve on. Tell me the great opportunities you have. Long list. What are some of the threats that might face you? There are none. Probably wasn't the most honest assessment I've ever been a part of. She just absolutely refused to recognize any of the weaknesses. I said, in my experience, working inside and outside, within the board, with your volunteers, here's some things, are areas that really need improvement, that are weaknesses that could potentially create a real, situation for you that you need to overcome. Those aren't really problems. Those aren't issues we need to worry about. So if you're not going to be honest, if you're not going to look at yourself and say, these are my strengths, I can capitalize on them. These are weaknesses. We need to acknowledge them and think about them so they don't blindside us. Nobody wants surprises in business. You're thinking about it as a business owner, you're creating a plan, you're going to have a pattern for growth. Don't let any of this escape you. Has anyone ever done a SWOT analysis? It's hard work, isn't it? Want to share a little? For clients.
Yeah, and now for myself. It is a lot of work. It takes some real introspection.
And you might ask other people. I mentioned focus groups in terms of asking questions, but you might ask business colleagues you trust. You might ask people at the SBDC. You might ask people at Passaic County. You might ask people, these are what I'm seeing as my great strengths. Is that what you're seeing as well? These are the weaknesses I believe I have. What do you think about that? Ask some people you trust. Create your own little advisory board. I think we're going to talk about that later. You're never too small. You could be a business of one. You're never too small to have advisors around you that will give you some good guidance. Writing a plan. This is certain words I have highlighted, bolded, made in italics, and I'm doing that for a reason. I said a written plan. Probably everybody has a plan in their head. Some people have a plan on a cocktail napkin. Some people do their annual reviews on cocktail napkins or on the back of an envelope. I think someone once did a speech on the back of an envelope and it worked out perfectly well and managed to last for more than 200 years. But typically, in your instance, I would suggest that a written plan gives you structure and a repeatable, sustainable process. Without that, without having something tangible to look at, to refer to remind you what you're doing, you have to walk around it all in your head. And when you're working in a business, it is very hard to think about working on it. But when you have it in writing and you have it in front of you, and maybe once or twice a week, you kind of look at it, remind yourself where you were aiming, what you were trying to accomplish, it can help you hugely. That conversation about working not only in it but on it is very difficult. There are other adjectives and other ways of saying that. People say, fix your roof when the sun is shining, because obviously when it's raining, you're way too late. Those are all easy to tell someone. But when you're the entrepreneur, juggling all of the things you need to juggle in the course of a day, when you're in charge of sales, when you're in charge of customer service, when you're in charge of accounts payable and receivable, and you're doing all the ordering, it's really hard for someone like me to come along and say, so, are you thinking strategically? Have you looked at your plan lately? Are you being, are you using forethought? It's really hard. You're so immersed in doing what you just do every day, trying to get through it, that it isn't practical for you to do much else. But I will say that over time, to sustain your growth, to manage your growth, and to have a really successful, profitable enterprise, you do need to stop and think about a written marketing plan, a written business plan within which sits a marketing strategy as well. So your business plan is larger than your marketing plan, and your marketing plan sustains it. If you're going to accomplish all these great things for your company, marketing is one of those major components that will help you get there. So what should be in a good marketing plan is, first of all, measurements. How will you know that what you're doing is working? I often have partners in my office will get great press coverage. Maybe there's someone here from the newspaper and they take pictures and they say, Sebel & Company was present at this great event. We work with small businesses. What better? And inevitably a partner will come into my office and say, what did we get out of that? And I say, what'd you hope to get out of that? Perhaps just recognition, perhaps acknowledgement. Perhaps one more person will think of us as a thought leader. The phone did not ring the next day with someone saying, I am dying to do business with you. Please come out and talk to me. I want to engage you immediately. That is not what happened, but that's not what I'm measuring. So you have to know what you're doing, what your goals are, and what you're measuring. You need to be able to identify your target audience, so that's another part of your plan. Who am I going after? A third part of your plan is describing your product or service. You need to do this for yourself. What am I really putting out there? If you can't do this for yourself and it's not part of your plan, you surely are going to have a hard time telling your story to anybody who needs what you've got. So think about what you have to offer. And I'm not saying be so clever, so many wonderful words, so many adjectives that at the end of it all I can't figure out what you did, because some people do that. They think if I say it in a different way, you won't recognize what I am. The point is to be really succinct and to be able to touch somebody in a meaningful way. What is it you're doing? What is it somebody else needs? How do you do that? And select an appropriate pricing strategy. If you're a small business and you're working with other small businesses, you need to be respectful of that. You need to think about at what point am I in the right market? At what point am I not? And so you need to think about all these things. That's the old adage when you talk about marketing. They talk about placement and pricing and packaging and promotion. Promotion's the one everybody loves, but all those other pieces work together. Coca-Cola talk about packaging. The bottle was as important to them as their brand name. The shape of that bottle, that package, that absolutely irrefutable, totally recognizable bottle that they have that has been their bottle forever is part of their marketing strategy. It's unique before you even open it. So think about your pricing as well as that product. And then we go on to look at that practical, another important word, practical mix of promotional tactics. And then including projections for your budget. And the reason I say that is I'm going to try to give you some ideas like an advisory board or a focus group and other ideas we'll discuss as well that have less of a hard cost to them, although everything has a cost. Your time is incredibly valuable, and that's what most of this takes up. But what you do need to know is what things are going to cost you before you go down that road so that you can determine for yourself, is this worth it? Will I get a return? went into my managing partner the first 2 weeks or so that I was in the office. This is now 8 years ago. And I said I had a great idea. There was a magazine in the New Jersey community, and they had the front cover available for sale. You could buy the cover, and you could have an inside spread of 4 pages. It was a great idea, I thought. It was our anniversary year. We were 50 years old. I had a very limited marketing budget, and I said, Ellen, I would really love to be on the cover, and I'd love to have our story, I meaning the firm, I'd love to have the firm on the cover, and I'd love to have our story told in these pages, and it's $10,000. And he said to me, the first question he asked me is, would you fall on your sword for that? And I thought about that sword. I backed away a little. I said, well, let me think about that. And he said, if I told you that, that's great. I'm fine with it. It's the only thing we're going to do this year. If you could only do one thing, is this the one thing you're going to do? And I stopped and thought about it. I said, let me think it over and come back in. I wasn't quite as rash as to say yes or no at that minute. I realized I hadn't thought it through. And he was putting me on the spot, and he was saying, this is a great idea, and if I had a budget of $100,000, this 10 would be easy to deploy. Use it, it's great, it's wonderful communication, it's fabulous. But if it's all I'm going to do, is this going to accomplish what I need to accomplish, which is establish our name in the small business, family-owned business marketing community, and is this the marketing thing I need to do more than any other? Is this what's going to get people to really recognize us, pay attention to us, and appreciate us for what we bring to the table? Ultimately, the answer that year was no. We have done other things since that cost more than $10,000, but they were much better thought out, much more targeted, and much more practical. So keep that in mind when you're making your big decisions. Promotional tactics. Everybody wants to do something, and you should. As the freeholder Laura told us, if you have a great product, a great service, and no one knows, it does you absolutely no good at all. So the more you can get your story told, the more you can get your message out there, the more people that are aware that you exist and the value you deliver, the better off you're going to be. So yes, promoting is huge. I'm trying to bring you some ideas, and I would love to hear from you as well in terms of initiatives that are low cost. The first, of course, is your website, and I've even mentioned also mobile version, because all of the resources we're reading and all of the consultants are saying more and more people today are on their iPad or some version of that tablet and their phone more than even their laptops or their computers. So whatever your message is, whatever your image is, whatever you're trying to share, recognize that at some point it's going to be on something this big or something slightly larger. How does it look? Does it send the right message? Is it convenient for the people who are looking for you? There are whole courses on just website. I've been told that when you open your page, any page, there should be less than 400 words. No one should have to scroll down as they're reading. It should all be right there for them so they can see it easily and quickly and get your message. People are impatient. All of us, we're the people. We are all impatient. We want things to load fast, navigate quickly, get us the information we want. I'm looking for your phone number. I go to contact us and I get an email form. I want to know how to just call you up. I want directions to get to your place. Whatever it is you think people want, think about it. Ask your friends to visit your site. Ask people who don't know you to visit your site and see not only is it easy to go from page to page and how many clicks you need, but what are they looking for? I think phone number is the number one thing that most people are looking for. We do a lot of events at Sebel. All of them are free, I need to say that. And one of the things that people look for is our address. So I need to be able to say very quickly, and it's on our website. I think almost on every page is our phone number. If not, that's our intent. So I'll check that now that I put that out there. But it surely should be easy and obvious. Content management. If someone is looking and just does a quick Google search, forgive me all you other search engines, Firefox, whatever, Google has now become a verb. So if someone's Googling you, I love that when something is a verb. It's like Kleenex. It's like, okay, good for them. So if someone's Googling you and they're saying CPA firm in northern New Jersey, what that search engine, I'm told, I'm not inside the search engine, but I guess the logarithm changes with great regularity, but at the moment, the experts are saying what that search engine is looking for is content. It's looking for you to be the expert. If I'm looking for a CPA firm in northern New Jersey that works with families in business, that search engine has an obligation to ferret out amongst all of the potential answers it can provide, the firms that are known for their expertise, that are known for their content, that are the thought leaders, that are generating information on their website that someone else needs. So if you put it up and you don't change it for 6 months, the search engines are never coming back. They visit once, they see what you've got. I don't know who's in there and I don't know how they determine this, but somehow magically they know if nothing new has been added. Maybe if you have a recipe to add. Maybe if you have health information to add, if you have a food service you're providing. Maybe you have an idea for something that's related to what you're doing. And so you think about, what could we change? Maybe you're offering specials. Maybe you're offering some kind of a connection or an alliance to someone who offers a similar product, and you say, come to our site and get this, and then we're also going to give you a coupon to go over here and do that. If it's flowers, at Valentine's Day, you might have a connection if you have a local candy store in your area, if you're sitting somewhere in Paterson and you're the florist and they're the candy provider, and you figure out a way to co-brand on your website on Valentine's Day. Whatever works for you, with your common sense, with a practical approach, all I'm telling you is change gets attention. And if it's stagnant, no one visits it. So when the search engine is looking for an answer for the person who's searching, and you want to come up, you need to change your content. You need to establish that you have the information that people are going to seek out. There are other things that are free besides and the website's not free, by the way. I'm not implying that at all. I am simply saying that if you're using it and you have the ability to make the changes yourself, which all of you should be taught how to do within reason. I can't add pages, but I can certainly change content on my pages. I can upload documents, take documents off, put new events on, take old events off. There are things you can manipulate on your own. You should have the ability to do that. Again, someone takes the time to do that, and their time costs you money, but it's not the same as, shelling out thousands of dollars to a web provider. Public relations, leveraging the local press. Often in your communities, there's a paper to fill, whether it's online, like the Alternative Press, or it's in print, like the Record, or the Star Ledger, or NJ Biz, and they have pages to fill with interesting content about the business community without being self-serving. If you have a story to tell, if you have industry information, if you've observed a trend and you want to share that, look in your paper. All of the reporters have their email address at the bottom of the articles. They want you to find them. No one's hiding behind a brick wall saying, please don't email me. They may not use what you've sent them. And if you're just sending them an email saying, I'm so pleased, Sally Glick was made principal at Sebel and Company, that may not really be big news in the greater scope of New Jersey's business events. I get that. It was big news for me. Big news to my 7-year-old granddaughter who thought it was very exciting, but it wasn't really big news in New Jersey. But if we're uncovering something about the New Jersey inheritance tax that is going to really impact business owners, and I call the press to talk about that, they're going to listen. They might call my colleagues and competitors and ask them questions as well and create a whole story, but I know I created the relationship. I know that I started that conversation. When you become a resource, you get those phone calls. You could be a one-person shop, you could be a 150-person shop, you could be a 1,500-person shop. If you're willing to think about what does my local press need to know, what am I observing, they will be forever appreciative. I know that in New Jersey, we have a very strong name as a firm in serving the nonprofit community. And we have about 200 nonprofit clients. We're very proud of that. It's about 20% of our business. There are firms in New Jersey that have 600, 800, 2,000 nonprofit clients. We have 200. But when the newspapers, particularly the business press, is looking for something that's going on or has a question about the nonprofit community, I am pleased to say they call me first. They call me because I have gone to them initially, built that relationship, and explained and showed them and demonstrated unselfishly that we have answers they're looking for, and we get those calls. So I'm not saying that happens every day, and I'm not saying it's going to happen to you immediately, but if you are not self-serving, if you are not selfish, and you build meaningful relationships, the local press will cover you. I'm sorry, I missed one. It was social media, of all the ones. Sorry about that. I'm not going to skip it. It just was at the bottom. So social media. I'm not going to skip it because, as we've all acknowledged, it can't be skipped. I have been, as a marketing director, to the last 5 conferences put on by my trade association, the Association of Accounting Marketing, and in each one there's a whole track for social media. Everyone thinks they're missing something if they're not tweeting, if they're not on LinkedIn, if they're not on Instagram, if they're not on Pinterest, if they're not on Facebook. It's endless, and if you're not blogging. And so people are very almost in angst over what am I missing, what should I be doing, what's the next greatest thing. And it changes so fast. The other day I was at a restaurant in Livingston that said, follow us on, it said Facebook, it said LinkedIn, and then it said Instagram. Where everybody else has had those little chiclets on their website, and my colleagues anyway, my competitors on Facebook and LinkedIn, now Instagram is popping up everywhere as well. You almost can't keep up. It's shifting under your feet. There's a zillion wonderful, limitless ways for us to use technology and social media to tell our story. But you have one thing that's scarcest of all, your time. Time and money, but time above all else. Make a list. That's why I said have a written plan. That's why I said be strategic. That's why I said know your strengths and weaknesses. That's why I said know where your opportunities are and know what your customers and clients value and how they want to communicate. If your clients are contractors and they're in the field all day, they may not be following you on LinkedIn. They may not care if you're tweeting. They may want a phone call from you. They may want good information. They may want you to let them know when something has changed in terms of the way that they're working with change orders, but they may not want it delivered through social media. You might have attorneys as clients who are at their desks when they're not in court and defending a client or doing something else wonderful, but they may be at their desks more. And a quick email from you may be absolutely the perfect way to reach them. So use your common sense. Have a mix. I am not saying don't use social media. That would be silly of me. It would not be prudent. It wouldn't be good advice to you. I am saying it's a balance. It's a mix. You need to prioritize. People will tell you how to use those tools, and it's important for you to pay attention to that. But if it becomes your only plan, it's not going to be enough. There's still other ways that people are hearing your story that you can use to generate your message. The good news is, of course, other than time, most of the social media tools that you have available to you have low hard costs. So it's very tempting to use them, and you should. But I have seen people get so engrossed. I actually had a friend tell me recently that she was paying someone to blog for her because she'd been told, A, that she has to have new, fresh content on her website regularly and doesn't have time to do that, and B, that blogs are critical to show your expertise, your level of authority, your capabilities, and so she's paying someone else to blog for her. I'm not sure that was the best use of her money, and I said, what's your goal? Always ask yourself the question Alan Sebel asked me when I said, let's be on the cover. What's your goal? What are you hoping to get from this? If you're just trying to generate a name recognition, if you're trying to build awareness, the blog may be a great tool. If someone has asked you to generate new business and over a short period of time, the blog leads to new business, but it isn't an immediate sales tool. It's something that establishes your brand. Think about what you're trying to get out of the tools you're using. Further ways to use technology, of course, that again have very low cost attached to them. Oh, sure, Phil.
I use LinkedIn and Facebook, and that's it. And lots of people send me invitations for all kinds of different platforms, and I send them back a note saying, I'm sorry, but due to time limits, I limit myself strictly to LinkedIn and Facebook. Please connect with me on those tools.
Great, and people, obviously respect you for that and do what they have to do.
But then the other thing is, I like to say that 24/7 networking sales has created this new one called face-to-face networking.
Yes.
What a clever idea. And we'll get to that before we leave. I have yes.
Just one thing I didn't see yet, and it is happening now, and it will grow significantly. Video.
Yes, of course, and thank you for saying that. When I talked about changing content on your website, one of the things that the search engines love, along with changing content, is absolutely video clips as well. Not only does it help you tell your story and connect in a meaningful way, but the search engine part of that logarithm, part of that formula that they use in terms of what's important content and what should I as a search engine be looking for. I think those search engines probably got their PhDs here at William Paterson. I'm not sure where they were trained, but those that are trained to do that are absolutely looking for video content. Thank you. And if we spent more time on each of these components, we could do a whole course on just using email, just using social media, just using your website. And unfortunately, I don't have that leisure. I love to talk, so anybody wants to call me, my name and contact information is at the end. You can call me. We can talk about anything you want. I don't want to miss strategic alliances, mostly because, again, it's that old-fashioned way of doing business, but when you are teamed up with people who are in the same space as you, but who don't compete with you, you can be more powerful sometimes collectively than you are individually. So look around you and think about who else is doing what you're doing. If you're a juice bar and you're pushing health, there may be a health club nearby and you say, first month free, and they work out a deal and tell their customers, hey, when you leave here, be sure to stop at the, at the juice bar because you're probably deplenished and you need to get that back up. So think about the ways that you can have that alliance. In a CPA firm, we often align with attorneys, with bankers, with wealth managers, with other business consultants, because those are the people who serve in the same space we do and the same types of clients. So think about the power of that partnership and broadening your sphere of influence by linking up with other people. Hosting events like this one today, being at one and hosting one, gives you the chance for face-to-face. It gives you the chance to be in front of people, make a connection, make an impression, demonstrate value. I could send you this PowerPoint and have never met you. I could email you and tell you all kinds of great marketing tips. I would make some impression, I hope, but I know how busy I am. Phil is obviously equally as busy. He might get that email and go, I don't know her, never heard of her. PowerPoint might be great, but you know what? I'm running out the door. I'm pretty busy. Delete. There's something about, still today, having the opportunity to build a relationship face-to-face that is very powerful, not to be ignored, not to be used in place of social media, but social media also cannot be used in place of that personal relationship. If you're not out there thinking in different ways of how you can make meaningful connections, you are missing a great opportunity. Because at the end of the day, although we have clearly at our firm used as many tools as we possibly can, or I wouldn't have a job, nonetheless, most of the people who use our services do that because someone they trust said that we're terrific. They've met someone from our firm who they thought was terrific. But it's all about that personal connection. Later, the social media, the marketing, the website, the content, the events, the articles, all solidify, confirm, and reaffirm that we're really as good as we say we are. But that doesn't drive a new client for us. It's a thoughtful process to pick an accounting firm. Some things are more transactional, much more spontaneous, and you can rely on different tools depending on the business you're in. But in a professional services world that I'm in, it's about personal relationships. So I might meet you through a certain tool like social media, but I'm going to get your business because you've met somebody that you've developed a friendship with, a liking for, a trust in. You've seen our integrity. So it depends on your business and your common sense. Be a resource. Be a resource for people. I have already said I'm happy to help you with whatever you need. I didn't say what my billable hourly rate is because there isn't one. I'm here to help. But over time, helping people always pays off. You get back so much more satisfaction and you get so much more back in terms of business. And connecting people to each other, establishing a reputation that says we are excellent. Showing it, not just talking about it. I could tell you we're a great firm. That doesn't do you much good. But if you come to events, if you see our resources, if you are a part of our community, then you see firsthand that we're excellent. You experience it. And experience is a really valuable thing. And so that's what the relationship enables you to do. There are connections. Facebook uses the word friend. I love that. Friend me. How many have 2,000 friends? How many in real life have 10 friends? Really great friends. You know the difference. So it's not that you don't want those followers. It's not you don't want that buzz. It's not that you don't want that big community out there in New Jersey to say, Sebel, wait a minute, I've heard of you. I've seen you before. I know you. I've been at events you're at. I want that. But at the end of the day, I get that most often through a personal interaction. Exponentially, I need all the other tools to reach out to everybody. And I need to stay consistent with my competitors. So I can't afford to fall behind, or everyone else will pass me by. But I have to recognize the importance of people and people building with each other. The one thing I would love to do, and we are out of time, and I apologize, the one thing I thought we would do is to have a chance for each of you to sort of say, okay, this was helpful, here's one thing I got, I'm going to form an advisory board. Here's one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to form a focus group. Here's one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look at a strategic partnership and see if there's anybody in my community that might want to hook up with us temporarily or over a long period of time to just see if we can help each other. Here's one thing I might do, I'm going to think about my website, I'm going to look at it and just determine what could I do differently that might make it attractive, that I could throw something up every day? People do polls. We do a poll on the nonprofit side. Every month we ask a question. Have you ever hired an interim director? Yes, no. We ask a question. Do you have a written marketing plan? Yes, no. We ask those kinds of questions every month. Easy to answer. Hundreds of people, fortunately for us, actually respond. Now we have a story to tell. We email it back and tell the people the answer. They can benchmark themselves against the poll. We tell it to the press. Sometimes they write a story about it. We put it on our website. Now we have new content for the month. We put it in our newsletter. Now we have an article. We build a little story around, here's what the results were this month, folks. Sit up and pay attention. Here's what your colleagues are saying. 85% are doing this. If you're in the 15 that aren't, you better be thinking about why not. So we use those things to cross-pollinate. We use them for multiple purposes. And best of all, if you're using Constant Contact or something like that, the services are pretty inexpensive. This is what costs the most money. Thinking about it. Coming up with the ideas, making it happen. It's really easy to write a plan. Well, I think it's easy to write a plan because I write them. It's really hard to implement them. That's the biggest challenge you've got. Writing all your ideas down is your first step. Making it happen. I don't want to come back in a year and say, you told me that one of your best ideas was creating an advisory board. How many of you who thought that was the #1 best idea actually did it? Well, I got back to the office, I got busy, I was in the store, I was operating, I didn't have time. And so, do the things you say you're going to do. Write them down, hold yourself accountable, have measurable goals, and you'll win. Thank you.
What a fabulous presentation. And because we did bring up video, thank God we have a speaker to focus on that today. Greg Riccardi is the Marketing Director of Video Marketing Group, one of our sponsors today for refreshments, and he's considered an expert by his peers in video production and marketing. As a former field camera operator and producer for News 12 New Jersey, Greg prides himself on his ability to dig deep into an individual, company, or organization, aid them in identifying what makes them unique, and then help them articulate why someone should be doing business with them using video to do so. Throughout the years, Greg has produced hundreds of television commercials and corporate marketing videos, and his client list includes such names as Avaya, Kia Worldwide, Honda, and LG. Greg has also enjoyed an extensive career in voiceovers, as you'll understand when he comes up to speak, having voiced commercials and promos for the Today Show, Olympus Camera, American Airlines, Cortisone 10, and he's the voice of the Gillette Fusion Razor Blade. Now that's pretty exciting. Greg and Video Marketing Group utilize 2 production and recording studios, one in Paramus, one in Allendale. Please welcome Greg Riccardi. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'll start off by saying we'll be right back after these messages. Okay. So thanks for having me today. Does everybody have this? It's a bunch of notes. This is what I'm going to be using today. We show some video later. I'm not going to be using a PowerPoint, also in the interest of time as well. But I've taken care of all the notes you really have to write. Does anybody not have this that needs it? They're out front, actually. On the table, okay. So before we started, I wanted to let everyone know that we're going to be giving away a free video today for a company. It's a free blog style video. We'll go into what a blog style video is. Before we do that, and so that we can choose the person or company that's going to receive it, I was wondering if everyone could take out a business card. Take out one of your own business cards. We're going to use that for the drawing. If you want to write on a piece of paper, you can do that as well. Now, on the back of the business card, I want you to write 3 letters. Does everybody have a pen and a card and all that stuff? Okay. I'll give you a few seconds. It's a little fun game. I'll do some voiceovers in the meantime while you get your cards out. Okay. Okay. So, right on the back of the card, 3 letters. The one is a C, the letter C on the left side. In the middle, write the letter R. And then on the right side, write the letter N. C, R, N. We're going to get back to that at the very end of the presentation. So hold on to that. Okay. So basically, what I want to go over with you today are a few things. One, I'm going to briefly go through some significant video facts. I'm going to hit actually only on one of them, really. The rest are listed there for you. Number 2, the benefits of using video. Number 3, the different types of videos that you can use for marketing your company or organization. And then number 4, the keys to a successful video, some tips on how to actually, have a successful video. So how many people are using video right now to market their companies on their website, blog, Facebook? Great, excellent. How many are considering using it but aren't yet? Okay, fantastic. Okay, so what I want to do is go over some significant video facts. The main one that's on the sheet here is actually the second fact. One is that the second one is that YouTube is the second largest search engine on the internet after Google. So people actually, when they're searching for anything, whether it's accounting or medical services or construction or anything like that, whatever business you're in, they're actually using YouTube second to Google. So of course you want to be on Google, but you also want to be on YouTube and again be using video for your marketing. So there's a bunch of other statistics here which I'll just glaze over here. There are 2 billion video views per week that are monetized, which means somebody's making money off of them. The number of online video viewers is expected to double to 1.5 billion in 2016. And here's another good one. Globally, online video traffic will be 55% of all consumer internet traffic. There's a lot of internet traffic that's not consumer internet traffic. 55% of it, of that traffic will be videos going back and forth by 2016. So those are some of the significant video facts. As far as benefits of using video, there are many. Number 1, video sets you apart from the competition. So I like to tell people all the time that, why do people come to networking events? The unfortunate reality is that there are other people who do what we do. There's no one in this room here, I don't think, that is the only person in the world that does what they do. So the reason why you come to networking events is to have people remember you and put a face to the name and to put a face to your service. That's what video does. So years ago, let's say 10 years ago or so, you may have decided, or thought to yourself, do I need a website? And we all know what the answer to that is today. Yes, you absolutely need a website to market your business. I'm here to tell you, and this is my little joke here, what time is it? Okay, it's about, it's time. You actually need video nowadays to market your service, your product. It's definitely something that's not you're going to need it at some point. You really need it because, very simple, your competition's using it and gaining the benefit of it. Secondly, with video, you appear like you know what you're doing. Now, I don't mean that to be as funny as that sounds, because the thing that's very interesting is that when you put yourself out there on video as an expert and you're teaching and you're doing some of the things I'm going to advocate in this presentation, whether you actually know what you're doing as much as the next person who's your competition, you are getting the benefit of people assuming you know what you're doing in your industry. So, and vice versa, if you're not using video to market yourself and to convey what you know about your industry and someone else is, whether you know more about what you're doing than they do, they are getting the advantage of the appearance of being a thought leader, being an authority in your field, and they're getting the benefit of it. Video sells from afar, and it sells 24 hours a day. Again, I go back to the networking thing. there's nothing that can really replace networking. I love it, and it's great to do, and everyone here is meeting each other and gaining business that way. It's a great thing. However, what you can add to that is a video of yourself that sits on your website. So if I'm browsing, looking for your industry, your company, et cetera, and I want to entertain using you as, a service provider or buying your product, and there's video up there, it's like I'm meeting you, So we're videotaping each of the presentations today, right? So I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, I think you looked good. I checked it. So this presentation, these 3 presentations are going to live on a website somewhere that can be, used 24 hours a day. So, and at no cost, which we'll go over as well. Video creates stickiness to your brand. If we all had a store, right, for what we do, it would be great if people were just in our store all the time, right? So I don't have a store. Most people aren't retail operations here, but the point I'm trying to make is that the longer someone spends time with your brand, the better it is. So if you have an interesting and compelling and engaging video on your website about who you are and what you do and why someone should be doing business with you, the longer they sit on that video and they're watching the video because it's engaging, the more they're interacting with your brand, and the more that is good for you and your business. This is the next one is conversion. And if you have the sheet, I really want, that's why I put it in all capitals. Either circle it, highlight it, or write something next to it, put a star. Conversion is an extremely important term. Does anybody know, who knows what conversion is? Anyone? Bueller?
Converting someone who just clicks through your website to customer.
Exactly, that's one, yes. So conversion, clicking from your website to call or something like that? Okay, so yes, conversion is the process of taking someone from wherever they are in the sales process to the next step in the sales process. So hypothetically, let's say you have your website, and on your website you want someone to call your company. Video helps that person convert that person from a casual website browser to someone who's going to call. There's other things here as well. So it could be make a donation. It could be you could want someone to simply put something in a shopping cart. You'd love for them to buy, but if someone puts an item into a shopping cart, you still have a closer relationship to them than if they don't. So video has been shown to increase conversion from one step to the next step by 52%, which means that 52% of people are more likely to take that next step than if there wasn't video on the website. Okay, video creates psychological debt. What do I mean by that? One thing that I've advocated for forever is educate. So educate your potential customers about your industry. One idea that's written here is, at very minimum, put a video on your website that educates people how to buy your service. If you weren't in your industry, what would you want to know about how to research your industry, how to, ask questions of someone that's looking to sell, your thing? So when you create educational content, that creates what I call psychological debt, where all things being equal, I've got 3 websites. They are all, let's say, employment services. So if the two, website 1 and 2 have no video on there educating me about the service, but website number 3 has tons of video up there saying, this is how you hire an employment service. This is how you hire a resume writer. This is how you do X, Y, and Z. I'm naturally going to gravitate, this person, this company educated me on, gave me some great information. How can I not use them? Type of thing. So that's what I call creating psychological debt. As was just mentioned, video creates tremendous SEO benefit. All right. Search engines are constantly trying to improve the results that they give to people when people make searches. So, knowing that people love video, guess what? Google loves video. So, and the other search engines as well. So, properly housed and tagged video on your website gets picked up more quickly, I do have one story, actually. It is actually here, Bergen County Acupuncture. 3 years ago, a company came to us, acupuncture practitioner in Bergen County. And Bergen County is one of the most densely populated, New Jersey's the most densely populated state in the country, and Bergen County is up there in terms of being most densely populated. There's got to be thousands of individual practitioners and companies that do acupuncture. So we made some videos, blog-style videos of, her name is Rachel Lopez, and educate. I had questions as a marketer. I want to know certain things, trying to play John Q. Public. What do I want to know about acupuncture? Asked her a whole bunch of questions. We made 6 or 7 videos. To this day, if you type in Bergen County and then acupuncture, which is a very broad search, not just her link comes up, but her video comes up. I can actually do it. I'll try to do it here online. But her video pops up, Meet Rachel. It's been there for 3 years. First page of Google results, and it's not just a text link, it's a video of her, talking about what she does. So search engine optimization is huge. It's measurable and trackable. So depending on the program that you use, it could be YouTube, it could be other types of video players. You could tell if your video is being watched. You could tell if you have a 2-minute video up there, you know what? 58% of my people are bailing. They're clicking off of it at 1.06 minutes in the video. Why is it? You can look on the video and see, why are people leaving at this point? You can't tell that with a brochure. You can't tell that with a business card and other traditional forms of advertising. Footage that is shot for a video, if we were to come to your office or studio or plant or whatever, footage that is shot, as long as it doesn't, your service offerings don't materially change, meaning, you were an accounting firm and now you're a law firm or something, video that's shot can always be repurposed and reused, preserving the investment that you make in video. So, and lastly, but perhaps most importantly, it is the most effective in conveying the passion for what you do. So I'd challenge anyone to, come up with something that can enable someone to articulate the passion that they have, the knowledge that they have, without using video to do so. All these pictures and text obviously can only go so far. Okay. The types of videos that you could use. Moving on here. So, in fact, this is where I'll hit play. So, try to. This is actually like just a montage of videos that we've done recently. This is a practice overview for a dentist. There's several other videos here which I'll go through now. Okay. Company overview. This is what I like to call video salad, which means it basically incorporates in as concise a video as possible, all of the major elements of a good video. A testimonial from a good, happy client, maybe a testimonial from other employees in the company, obviously facility shots, interview with the owner, that type of thing. This could be anywhere from 45 seconds to 1minute and 45 seconds. Typically, this would sit on a homepage of someone's website. The second is called a blog-style video, which is what we're offering as a free gift today. Blog-style video are videos that, let me see if I can even scan here, maybe I can. All right, this is a marketing event video. This is a trade show video. Let's scan through here a little bit. Okay, blog style. Here's a cool blog style video we just did. This is for this is a product video. 2 seconds, that'll end. Okay, so this happens to be a tutoring center in Franklin Lakes, and what he's doing is extremely smart. We made a little TV show called the Scott Doty.TV show, and Scott owns a company called Brainstorm. It's a tutoring center in Franklin Lakes, and what he's doing is he's creating a series of blog-style videos that go out to the parents of the students that he trains at the location there. So. Basically, right here, he's saying that the word choice that you use, the vocabulary, is a good thing. So these are simple videos that educate your clients, that they could either be potential clients or your actual clients. So these videos are going out to the parents, intended for them to share with other parents and say, hey, this place is great. So benefits of a good vocabulary. Okay, that's a blog style video. Okay, let's see what else. VNR. VNR is a video news release. Like, let me just to avoid distraction here. Okay, so a VNR is a video news release. We had a company come to us about 2 years ago, and they claimed to have a product that saves you gas in your car and in trucks and stuff. 20% savings of fuel based on this thing that you put into the engine of your car. So they wanted to do a commercial, and we advised them not to do a commercial because no one's going to believe that this is going to work. So what we did instead was we did a news-style piece. It's called a VNR, or a video news release. What that is, it's basically with like a reporter type of thing where we can show it as if, wow, this is a new thing. We're going to vet it. We're going to present an opposing view, perhaps, which is what the news does. Some people agree with this, but some people don't. And then we bring in that person. So what it did was it lended a tremendous amount of credibility to the product based on the way it was presented. And they wound up getting into like Transportation Magazine, and the video just took them further. So that's what a video news release is. Of course, testimonial videos. Testimonial videos, let's see here. Very simply, your happy clients, speaking about how good of a job you did for them or how good the product is that they bought from you. Let me scan there. Okay. Well, this is a testimonial within another video here, but this is a personal training gym in Mawa, so okay, this is a pool company. This is another overview video. How-to/educational videos. We already touched on that. New product introduction videos. Case studies are fantastic. So case studies are a little bit more involved than like a before and after video. A before and after video could be for like, let's say, an auto body shop or a builder that says, look at this addition. It was falling apart. We rehabilitated it. Or maybe even a pool building company that says, look, this was the backyard beforehand, this is what it is after. Those are before and after videos. A case study is a little bit more in depth. So it could be, a perfect example again would be, an accounting firm. This was a company's challenge. They came to us, it could be anonymous. This was the 1, 2, 3, 4 problems that they had, and here is how we approached the solution. Here's how we executed the solution, and here's the result afterwards. So case study videos can be great. Marketing events. All right, let me go back here. Marketing events, if you have any type of, facility, it doesn't even have to be a facility. It could be something like, you rent a room somewhere or you have an event somewhere. Hold on a second. Where you invite other companies. That's what this one is here that we did for. Okay, this is a marketing event that we did for Design Spree. It's a store in Maywood, New Jersey. And they did an open house. They invited all kinds of other companies to come in and have a table. And then they did a video of the event itself and each, quick interview with every table that was there. Each company got highlighted in the video, and then they, of course, Design Spree put it on their website. They tagged everybody else in the video, so it automatically, through social media, said, hey, you were tagged in this video. And then, of course, all of those companies used the same exact video to promote themselves by saying, hey, we were invited to be at this marketing event. It was awesome. By the way, you can see us at, 2 minutes and 5 seconds of the video. So marketing events can be awesome as far as video. Now, there are two innovative, I'm just going to pause this. This is a trade show video. There are two innovative videos that we came up with that inspire someone to, it inspires authenticity. And one of them is hidden camera videos. I can't tell you how many companies we've sat down with and made videos about their companies. And the people who we speak with at the companies are extremely passionate. They're obviously knowledgeable. They're, they know what they're doing, and they're very articulate about it when in person, which all of you are, about talking about your product. When we sit people down, however, and the red light goes on, it tends to be a different story sometimes. So one thing that we are pioneering, I'd like to say, is hidden camera videos. What we do is we set up a scenario where we can interview a company about what they do, and they have no idea there's a camera somewhere in the room. Chit Chat Diner in Hackensack. We've done 2 of them so far. They're in production right now. They've agreed to. They said, listen, as long as you come at like 8 o'clock in the morning, we can do this. We hide a camera in the diner, put a wireless microphone on the table easily 40 feet away, and the zooms that we have on our cameras zoom right into the person. So we'll say, hey, we understand you want to do a video about your business. Tell us about your business. How do you keep ahead of the trends? How do you, what are some of the new things going on in your industry? And it comes out, the stuff that comes out of the person's mouth is marketing gold as far as I'm concerned, because if it's prefaced in the beginning of the video that the video they're about to see is, the person was, duped into doing this video, the authenticity level is at 1,000%. So that's one idea, one thing that we're doing. Another one is what we call powermonials. They're basically testimonials, right? We're all busy, so a lot of times we're too busy to even ask someone for a testimonial, let alone give one for someone else. So I already mentioned that having video on your website serves all these great purposes, especially the SEO part of it. So one thing that we're offering, that we are actually in production on 2 of them as well, is we call powermonials, where we will videotape someone that looks like a telemarketer calling your clients to do a quick survey over the phone. So, hi, we understand you use XYZ company. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience? Oh, absolutely. So the person is on speaker, you hear the person, but you're seeing this telemarketer. Now, what's great about that is we can ask them great follow-up questions. So, what happened? Well, I wrecked my car, and I had a problem, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and you used, East Coast Collision in Jersey City. Fantastic. Wow. How were they? Well, I can't tell you how great they were. From the second I spoke, picked up the phone and called Chris over there, they picked me up, they gave me a free estimate, I can't believe they did that for you? Yeah, can you believe it? So this is an extremely, incredibly authentic, again, video that not only, obviously is a true testimonial, but also is a video. So it goes on the website and gets you the search engine optimization benefits there. So that's a new thing that we're doing. Don't even have a sample of it yet, but it's called Powermonials. Ask us, if you'd like to find out a little bit more about that. Okay, so that covers the types of videos that you can do. Let's go into the keys to a successful video. Okay, put a few things down here. Number 1, I mentioned it a bunch of times already. Authenticity is key. Authenticity is key. So what I mean by that is something that's contrived, something that is hey ho and graphics. They have their place and they can be great, but nothing beats authenticity. And you could literally have. I'm not advocating this, but you could literally take a cell phone to your favorite client or someone, or have them do it and send it to you by email of how happy they were. The phone could be shaky, it doesn't matter. If what's coming across is real, that's everything. Now, of course, you want a good video. You want something that's not shaky, you want a good sound quality and stuff, but authenticity is key. People's, including everyone in this room, myself, all of our, I like to say that our BS detectors are very honed. We're all, especially in this area, very savvy consumers. And even if, it could be a 1%, 2% thing, like, oh, that person knows that they're on camera. Of course they're going to say that. That takes away from the authenticity a little bit. So that's why, authenticity is key. So number 2, timely and relevant. They should go without saying, but of course you don't want to have old information up there on your website, whether it's in the video or not. You want to watch the contrived or humor things. We've had some companies call us up and say, we want to do something that we're going to try to have it go viral. And you don't want to try to do that. I mean, you can, and if it does go viral, great, but usually when you try to try to be funny or whatever, it typically backfires. You typically would need a huge budget, you know, to do something like that and pull it off well. Okay, next one. It's professional or at least good audio. So there are a lot of videos out there on YouTube that I'm sure you've seen where the content is good. The person's sitting there and they're saying, okay, hi, I'm a chiropractor. Here's why you need it to be, you know, you need to use a chiropractor. A, B, C, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. But they're back here and we can't hear them, and you know the content is good, but it just takes away a little bit. So audio is key. I already mentioned educational. Teach. Okay, context is everything. One question that we get all the time is, how long does the video have to be? And I say, it's got to be the only rule of thumb with length of video is that it's got to be as short as possible without leaving anything out. You want to get the whole message out without being redundant and without leaving anything out. So that could mean your video could be 30 seconds. Your video could be, you know, a minute and a half or whatever. On the flip side of that, and this is why I say context is everything, if I know I'm taking an online college course, I know that I'm going to be sitting down to 20 hours of video, right? So I'm fine with it being 20 hours. However, if it's obviously anything close to 20 hours on your homepage of your website, not a good thing. So context is everything. This was also mentioned earlier, show, don't tell. We have a construction company. These guys said, come on down, we want to make a video about, we have multiple projects going on, you know, we want to do some videos. I walk in there, it's a place in West, what is it called now? Woodland Park. And gorgeous operation. You know, when I think, sometimes when people think construction, they, you know, think chuck in a truck. You know, this is like a major operation, and the building was beautiful. But I didn't want them to say, oh, and by the way, look at our beautiful offices. What we did was we showed the beautiful offices. We put the accounts payable person in, you know, an environment where, you know, behind her was this gorgeous office. We put the, you know, the office making staff in different environments that showed the office. So wherever you can show that you know what you're doing versus saying, I know what I'm doing, that's a good benefit. Release them over time. Videos that you make to save money, have it be economical. You could do 10 blog style videos in one day. What we advocate and what we practice is bring 10 different, you know, outfits. So we can shoot them all different locations, but then what you do is you release them over time. So you're paying for one shoot day instead of 20, but then you have 20 videos that we can edit over time and then release over time, but you're saving your money there. Okay. And depending on the type of video, a good clear call to action. So this should go without saying to marketing people, but what do you want people to do? Again, that conversion. Do you want them to subscribe to your blog? Do you want them to donate? Do you want them to like, share, comment, whatever? Put a good call to action in there. So that's keys to a success. Any questions?
You
So-
mentioned so many different videos. How should you
Yeah.
get started? You know, if you're really a kind of a virgin in this, what's the first video that you should have?
Okay. I've been saying forever. How do you stack boxes?
Right.
You put the biggest one on the bottom, then you go smaller, smaller, smaller. So I would say that if a company only had, let's say, the budget to do one video, or they just wanted to get their feet wet with it, I would say do an overview video, you know, of your company. So it's about a half-day shoot, half-day edit. It's approximately $1,000 to $1,500, depending on the complexity of it. But if you could only do one, that's what I would do. Although, you know, you wouldn't be bad off if you had 5 simple blog videos. Hi, we are a consulting company, and this is what we do. And, you know, the topic of the day is this. You know, people love it when the first thing that they are doing on video is, today we're going to talk about, and it's their first video, as if they did 20 videos prior to that. So, yeah, blog videos would be one. But I would say an overview video of your company if you only do one. How are we doing on time?
No, you're good.
Oh, good,
Any
okay.
other questions? Like, there's so
Oh,
many questions.
there's one more. Actually, I have one more little
Yes,
piece.
go,
How
go,
am
go.
Okay, all right. Pre-roll video advertising. I'm going to make a prediction. You're going to be doing this one day. How about that? See that? And when you do, think of this day, all right? Pre-roll video advertising are the commercials that you see online prior to videos that you want to see online. So I'll tell you the story. Bring up the speed here. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, before cable, to advertise, there was 5 channels, okay? If you had $1,000 to spend on every spot, that's all, Ivory soap, that's all who could afford at that point. Then came cable. Now, from we went from 5 channels to 500 channels, the prices come down. Local advertisers can advertise on cable now. Still expensive based on the return. But now, you can make a commercial and have it air in any zip code prior to a video online that you're pulling up, and have it cost you pennies per view. And on top of that, if people don't watch the whole commercial, you don't pay for it at all. People skip the ad. When you skip an ad, the company's not paying for it, typically. So you get a lot of free branding. It's incredibly inexpensive because why? Now there's not 600 channels. There's 600 million channels, which is the internet. So you could be on any website. You could be here on a website in China. If they're using YouTube to host the video on that website in China, your video could appear before that video here. And it's crazy because it's actually based on your online activity. So if I Google dentist 5 times and I click on a few links, and then I go back and I watch a video about the highlights of the basketball game last night, Joe's dentist is around the corner from me. He's going to pop up right there. And it's incredibly targeted, incredibly inexpensive. The ROI is incredible. So that was a quick glance over the last part of it. But pre-roll video is soon you're going to start seeing ads for your local pizza place. Yes.
How much cost for the YouTube, or how much cost for the channel?
That's another great thing about it. It's actually budget-based. So no longer is it, okay, this is going to cost me $500 a month, $300 a month, or whatever. You put the budget in, similar to AdWords. So, you could say, I want to put X amount towards it, whatever your budget is, and you see how far that goes. The average that we've seen as far as the price per click, when someone clicks on your ad and goes to your website, that's a conversion that you pay for that, even if they watch 5 seconds of the commercial. If they watch past 30 seconds, that's also considered a conversion. No one's going to watch your commercial for more than 30 seconds if they weren't interested. So it could be as little as 10 cents. It could be as high as 50 cents. Depends on the popularity of the keyword that you're trying to hit. So if you're selling Ferraris and one sale is $200,000, you may pay $100 for a click. But most keywords are not like that. Most keywords are, the average we see is like 20 to 30 cents a click or view. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but if you say 20, 30 cents a click, if 10,000 clicks cost a fortune.
But that's the thing. Just put your fortune in first. Just say, okay, I only want to put $100. Whatever your budget is, you put that in. So if it's $300, divide that out. You get 1,000 clicks for $300. These are bona fide. I mean, who's going to watch your commercial past 30 seconds if they're not interested, number one? And who's going to click on your commercial to go to your website if they weren't interested? Those are what you want to pay for, the good ones, not the ones that Cablevision are. I mean, that has its place too, but they can't tell you who's, watching your commercials and stuff.
So you put your budget in first. You put your
Yeah.
budget in and then.
I only want to spend
I want to spend.
$100.
Right.
Yeah, it's actually daily. So you could say, I only want my commercial to appear Monday through Friday, and I want to spend at most $10 a day, $50 a day.
The target is very big too.
The targeting is insanely ridiculous. What's that?
What's the name of this video, sir?
It's called pre-roll video advertising. It's a video that rolls before the video that you want to see. It's part of YouTube. Yep.
So you say, like, I say, I want to spend $100 a week. And,
Yep.
And after they pick up, after this $100 is gone, then this no more show up.
Right.
Correct. Your video won't show up after your budget is met.
How about the Google one? Get one click.
Google owns YouTube, and it's through Google. It's
AdWords works the same way.
yeah.
AdWords works the same way. Oh, same way?
AdWords.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, that was great. Yeah, AdWords works the same way. Yes.
Okay, so I've been playing with video for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm in training. But one of the things I just was made aware of is this new focus on streaming, and Roku is taking great advantage of that. Are you familiar, can you speak to that at all? I've never heard of the Roku box before. Now it's hitting me from all sides. And in fact, one of the channels that I'm putting up is on Roku.
Yeah, that is more on the hardware side, where I'm not, as versed in that.
What was your
Some-
question? We didn't hear it.
Okay, the question was, she asked a question about streaming,
Streaming direct from.
right from the internet to your television or whatever.
television.
Yeah.
So you can now do channels, like I'm going on this channel called Her Tube and have my own channel.
Uh-huh.
For women only.
Mm-hmm.
About things that women like.
Right.
And that particular company has already licensed and they're on Roku. So your visibility is international.
Uh-huh.
Pretty cool.
That's cool. Well, if it's a place to advertise, I'm gonna look into it. We could put, companies put our clients on there. Yes.
Question, now we're talking about, website, videos, but, you probably let me know, or give me the information about putting a video or a commercial on television. What do I do? Do I go to a company like yours, shoot a video, and then go to the television,
Talking about cable?
Yeah.
Question is, how do you get something on cable? You can go to them, and they'll say, okay, it's gonna be X amount of dollars, and depending on how big your package is that you're buying, they can include a commercial, or you can certainly go to them with one pre-made. So yes, you can absolutely call a company like mine, and we'll make a commercial for you, and then you can put it on cable. Yep. Anything else? Yeah.
Can you, how selective can you get when you're targeting of your pre-roll videos? Like, what kind of videos that people are going to be looking for where you will be pre-rolled on? And how selective can you be on what videos your pre-roll comes up on?
Okay, it actually doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter where, what video that it's on. You're not targeting now to the masses. It's not like a billboard. You're targeting based on individual.
Specialty industry or something like that, you might want someone, you're not gonna get someone that's looking for just your regular funny haha YouTube video. It's not gonna be anywhere.
Why wouldn't you want your ad to show there?
No, I'm saying that you may not, you may want to be more specialized and try to target more audience that way, like your particular audience.
Okay,
And you
okay,
can select it
all right.
just generically.
This bears explaining. Okay, so it's not like that. It's not like if you put the funniest video up on YouTube right now, it gets 1 million hits. The commercial that precedes it is not the same every time. The commercial that precedes it is based on the internet DNA fingerprint of the person who's watching it. So you could just have researched, vacations in Greece 50 times yesterday, and someone else could be, searching, dentistry in a different area. You both could click on the same video. You'll see a commercial for, travel agents, and they'll see a commercial for dentists. So it doesn't matter what video it is that they're pulling up. Although of course, if you are, you want to print, pull up I want to print my business cards so I can search business cards. It can come up there too. But does that make sense?
You kind of like selects it for you.
Right. So now you're like laser. You're just following the people who've demonstrated an interest in your product or service prior to pulling up any video. That's what cookies are all about. That's what online browsing habits. It's based on your Google searches. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So, anyone else? I don't want to.
What about zip codes? If you want to key in an area only, I don't want to go to,
Yep.
Pennsylvania, I want to
Yep.
go just to this
It's based on zip codes. Absolutely. Yeah. So you can target. You can put the zip codes that you want. You can hit one zip code if you want, all day long. I'm sorry.
How are people making money off of YouTube? Like, I'm a singer and a musician, so
Mhm.
there's a site called TuneCore, I think.
Okay.
And it says, make money off YouTube, and I haven't really looked at it so much, but how are businesses or other artists or, how are people making money instead of always having to spend it?
Well, I don't know if the people, I'll give you one scenario, there's many different ways, but, if one way of making money, but you mean as an artist, though, is that what you're saying?
Well, just in general, I'm just curious.
Well, one way is, hypothetically, I could click on this video right here. Now, YouTube isn't free. YouTube sounds like it's free, right? But the way we pay for it is in the advertisements that appear over the commercials. So you have to be careful when using YouTube to advertise your business, because if you're a printer, let's say, and you put a video up there about your business, and someone searches and finds that video, other companies could be advertising on your video. And vice versa, you can advertise on someone else's video. So that's one way that YouTube makes money and people make money using it.
They even tell you, an ad may show up in this space, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep.
Let's do the,
Oh, let's do the drawing. Okay, cool. So this is what I want you to do. Go back to your business card. Thank you. Go back to your business card. Now, if you have the C, the R, and the N, this is what I want you to do. If you'd like us to call you, because you're interested and you want us to find out more about using video for your company, circle the C. If you don't want us to call you, but you know someone who you should call, and you want to refer us to someone, circle the R. And if you're not interested, just circle the N. It's okay. You can still win the video. What we're gonna do is we're gonna hand out or pass this thing around. Just put your business cards in it. And who do you want to pick? Someone to pick? Or do you want to pick it?
And the winner is Don Pardo. Beetle Golf LLC, Jim Beetle. Jim Beetle.
Awesome. Congratulations. Thank you. Thanks for your time, everybody. Appreciate it.
Okay, Josh, you ready? I'm ready. Okay, it's now my pleasure to introduce Josh Baty. Right? Okay. He's the Director of Strategy at Graystack Digital Marketing and J. Lawrence Media, as well as the Director of Business Development at Clarity Water Technologies. Josh goes beyond SEO and helps companies use the internet to grow their business. Josh has over 15 years of experience in business development, management, and marketing consulting. His background includes high-level management roles in the financial services and commercial lending industries, where he was one of the first people to use the internet to prospect for the mortgage industry during the very early stages of Google. Josh, thank you so much. Explain it all to us.
Okay, we're gonna have a little fun. My name's Josh Baty. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for having me. Is everybody like? I know that time's running out, right? What's the time frame here? We got to be done by 20 minutes. Okay, half hour. We can jam it down your throat that quickly. Yes, we can. All right. How about we talk? I want this to be interactive. So if you have questions as I go through, please feel free to interrupt me. I like that. I work better like that. So I'm the Director of Business Strategy for a company called Graystack Digital Marketing. And, first of all, I'd like to kind of get an understanding of who I have in front of me, if that's okay. So who here either owns their own business or is here on behalf of a company as kind of their marketing department or their marketing person? So most of you, okay. And now, those people that just put their hands up, can you also keep that hand up, but now make sure you tell me, do you have a website? So the persons, you should have two hands up if you have a website and you're a marketing person. So we have two hands in the air. I only saw one hand back there. Well, I'm always looking for this rare breed of, I have a business, but I don't have a website, because I always want to take my picture with that person. Okay, so, all right. So it's important. So we all know, we have all bought into the idea that we have to have, a website today if we're going to do business, because people are looking online to find us. So who here is also on social media? Personally, first, let's say, Facebook, raise your hand. You're on Facebook. Twitter, if you're, raise your hand. Twitter. LinkedIn. Everybody on LinkedIn? If you're an executive, if you're doing business, doing anything, if you're just working, you should be on LinkedIn. You should have a LinkedIn profile and let people know what you do. It's great for networking. It's great for, God forbid somebody lays you off. It's good for putting your resume out there and, getting a new job or going up the line or whatever it may be. How about their businesses? Who keeps their businesses? They actually not only have their personal accounts on those platforms, but they also have either a company page on Facebook or a Twitter account for their company or a LinkedIn company page. People have that? Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. That's good. How many people like other companies on Facebook? If you're on Facebook and you like them, right? Okay. Sometimes when you like something, your friend sends you something, hey, please like this or please like that. Do you ever really interact with that again after that? Yes or no? You can yell it out. it depends, it depends. It's always lukewarm, that question, you know? Most people say, no, I don't. They don't want to admit it, but they like, you know, they like somebody's page, or they like a page, or they like a brand, and then they never really think about it again. So is that really an effective way of marketing, getting people to like your company online? No, it doesn't. Not really good. Just putting it out there. All right, so let's talk about inbound marketing, all right? Has anybody ever heard the term inbound marketing before? Yes, okay. So there are a bunch of different companies out there right now, big marketing companies and platforms called marketing or internet marketing, automation, or that type of thing. HubSpot's a big one of them. Infusionsoft is a big one of them. Marketo. Has anybody ever heard of those companies before? Okay, if you're online and you have a business and you want to market online, which most people who have a business and have that type of audience want to, I would suggest that you check out marketing automation. And offline, you can speak to me about it at length. But I'm going to talk to you about the principles that they use. All of these companies use the same type of principle to attract strangers to their brand and later on convert them into not only customers but advocates of their brand. And they do that a lot through, as Greg was describing, a lot of this is through content generation. Video is the hottest thing right now. It's been hot. So that's how they do it. So that's what inbound marketing is. It focuses on creating, focuses on creating quality content that pulls people towards your company, right? So it's not just about content that you're creating and you're putting out online and on your website, but it's also about focusing that content in some kind of context that's meaningful to a specific type of person, albeit, your customer, right? Okay, so we're gonna get into that too. So why inbound marketing? Well, let's take a look. As of, in 2012, Pew reports that more Americans get their news online than from radios or newspaper. More people are finding ways to completely avoid interruptive marketing techniques. So in other words, when you go online, when you're on, or you're watching TV, or everybody's got a DVR on their cable box these days, and what do you do when you're watching your favorite show? Do you watch the commercials? You go right past them. Unless, of course, you see something that's like really cute. Oh my God, it's a baby riding a giraffe. I want to watch that for 5 seconds, and then I'll go past it, and then I'll get back to my show. But for the most part, we have the technology now in our homes, in our cell phones, and on our laptops to disregard all of the people out there that have this loudspeaker in their mouth saying, I want to sell you something. I'm looking to sell you something, and you can see it. And so that's why when we Google something that we want to look for, what happens, what do we see on the on this side of the page in Google? Ads. And do you ever click on those ads? Generally not. What about the ones up top that are in the light yellow box? What are those? Sponsored ads. They're ads. They're people trying to sell you. They paid for that. But now, right, the collective brain power, we all know that the first real one that we want to click on is the top organic search, right? That's the one that's going to be the most relevant to what we just typed into Google. Okay, so how do you do this thing called inbound marketing? Like, what does it mean, and what am I supposed to do? Well, let me see if my slides are actually, there we go. Okay, so this is the concept of inbound marketing right here in a nutshell. Okay, if you have the handout, it's kind of right there printed out for you. You don't have to write this down. All right, so we have a stranger. They're out on the internet. They're hanging around. They want something, right? So they go online and they look for it. All right, and if you're that company that sells that something, you want to attract that person, obviously, right? You want to attract them because they're going to go online, they're going to Google it, they're going to put it through Bing. Let's just call everything Google because it makes it easier. But obviously, whatever search engine there are, who cares? It's Google. So let's say your stranger, types into Google, hey, I want to buy a car. I want to buy a particular car, and you sell cars. So, you want to attract that stranger, and you want them to find your site. So you want a visitor. You want to turn them from a stranger to a visitor. And how do you do that? Well, you can spend a ton of money on ads, and you can do all these different types of things. But if you're online, you want people to find you where they're looking. So you want to be on the search engines, right? You want to be highly ranked in search engine. You want to be on social media so that people that, that are interacting with their friends online or say, you know what, I'm in the market for a car. Oh, wow, look at this. This guy over here sells a car. Maybe I can take a look. So it's all about getting those people, whether they're on the Google, right? Because Google's not your website. And Facebook is not your website. It's all about getting those people that you find there back to your website, right? You want to get them to our website. And once they're there, you want to convert those people that are just kicking the tires and looking at your site into leads. You want them to actually be a lead for your company. Well, how do you do that? It's great that I know that I got 10,000 people that looked at my website last month, right? That's awesome. Great statistic. But if none of them are on the phone with me, right, if I'm not selling them anything, then that's not really such a great statistic at all, right? So, big deal. I shine my flashlight up in the air and 50,000 people saw it. Big deal. So what we have here, the way that you convert people from visitors to leads is you need to have strong calls to action on your website. And you also need to have those calls to action have to bring them to a landing page that gives them something, right? There's got to be some reward in it for them so that they're understanding that, okay, I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you my information, either my phone number or my name or my email address, or I'm going to join you. And you're going to have a strong call to action. A good example of a strong call to action is like download my white paper about why my cars are the best, or download my white paper about, that's actually not a strong one. A better one would be, I'm looking for a Honda, and I have a white paper that says why Hondas are the best cars on the road today, the pros and the cons, or something like that, right? Totally free information that I host on my website, but you have to just give me, your email address in order to get it, right? So now I know that you've been there, and I know that you're interested in Hondas, right? I have this data, okay, that I can act on. So now that's how we get to get our people to be leads. Now they're a lead for us. Now, once they're a lead, we want them to be a customer, right? We want them to buy from us. So how do we get them to buy from us? Well, we need to start to actively market. We know that we just had somebody visit the site. We know that he likes Hondas. We want to start sending him stuff, or at least putting stuff out where he's looking, right? Because we don't also have to send stuff directly to him. We could be on the same social networks as he's on, and we can have our ad, when it comes to him and just him, be very specific to Hondas. We know the guy's interested in Hondas. We know that he's looking at Hondas. We can have software running on our website that lets us know how many times he's looked at Hondas on our site, how often, how many times. We could have a video on there about a Honda. We can see how many times he's looked at the video. This is all data that can be crunched and give it to you in real time on a CRM system, believe it or not, even if you're a small business guy. I know it sounds amazing, but it's true. So you could have that real-time data in your hand that says, Tom Smith is on my website right now. He's looked at it for the past 30 days. He's been looking at Hondas. I think Tom might respond to a phone call from me if I talk to him and say, hey, Tom, I realized that you were on my website a while back. You downloaded a white paper about a Honda. I don't know if you're in the market for one right now, but I got to be honest with you. I have one sitting on my lot that we're going to discount by $3,000 tomorrow. You want to come down and take a look at it? Do you think he's going to come? There's a good chance he is. There's a very good chance he is. Okay. So that's how we turn him into a customer. Now, after he's been a customer, we want him to be an advocate for us. We want him to tell all his friends how awesome we are, because he's like, you know what, Bob, I just bought this Honda. You're not going to believe this. This guy called me up. I've been looking on his website for, I don't know, a month. And, he turned around and he called me up one day kind of out of the blue, and he says, hey, listen, I've been looking at Hondas on my site. Yeah, I knew that. And then he had like the exact one that I was looking for, like right on his lot, right at that particular moment in time. It was perfect the way that they set it up. You think he's going to tell his friends? He's going to tell his friends. He's going to tell his friends. He's going to share your information online. If he has friends that are looking for a car, he's going to say, check this guy out, right? So we want to delight our customers, right? We want to delight the people. And not only do we want to delight our customers, we want to delight our prospects. The reason I'm going through this fast is because I know that I don't have that much time. So, okay, I got plenty of time. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what we're publishing and how we're publishing it. So we want to publish the right content in the right place at the right time. Does that sound easy to do? It's not that easy to do. But with the types of tools that are available today, it's becoming a lot easier to do. It's not, this used to be, and I'm just talking about like 5 short years ago, maybe 6. This used to be the conversations that were going on in places like, Coca-Cola or whatever, because they had the sophistication and they had the programming experts in their, in their bank of people to go to, that could build the infrastructure needed to do this. But this type of technology is available to small businesses. The reason that we're doing this is because when you do this, your marketing becomes relevant and helpful to your customers, and it's not interruptive. So if we know, right, if Google is telling us, like right now, there's somebody online, he's looking for, some kind of widget, and you sell that particular type of widget, Google wants you to be able to get your information in front of him, because what does Google want to do? They want to give the best search result for what somebody wants. That's why, to go back to Greg's point about the video marketing, right? The fact that, those pre-roll videos. Your video, if you're selling vacations to Tahiti, right? And, they're not going to pop up for people that are not online looking at vacations. They're just not. They might here and there. They might. You might get tricked a little bit, but Google's pretty sophisticated now, right? You're seeing ads when you go between Google and Amazon. You type in, that you want to buy a flashlight on a Tuesday. You're going to see flashlights, come up in those paid ads all around you, and you're going to ignore them, by the way, because we've learned to do that. We ignore that, right? But on social media, on Facebook, you're going to see it. Those quote-unquote cookies that have been embedded in whatever device you're using to do that search, they're going to get that information. Go ahead. Yeah, it happens all the time.
I was looking for a Honda.
There you go. And you saw more Hondas. Not only did you see 1,000 Hondas on the road, but you...
They were on everything that, like, on Facebook, every
Mhm.
side was Toyota.
That's correct.
Kias. It was like every car. And I was
Right.
either it's a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence, but it is... But think about this. It's not a coincidence, but now you know that you've been marketed to, and now you hate that. This is the cool thing about marketing. So I'm a marketer for a really long time. I started in the financial business. And every cool thing that comes out, marketers, we screw up. We really know how to screw it up. Google came out, when it first came out. Does everybody remember Google when it first came out? When Google first came out, it was the coolest thing. It said Google, it had one search bar, you put in whatever you want, and that thing popped up. There were no ads, there were no nothing, right? Then marketers wow, look at this tool. This is so great. I can't believe what it does. If somebody types in that they want a mortgage, I'm gonna 2% APR, and boom, 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 and they bombard the sides and we screw up everything. You're gonna forget it. People get their cell phone, their smartphone. They're like, oh, I can send email on my smartphone, and then a marketer is you're trying to make a phone call, and you're getting an ad for. I can't drive down the highway now with retail me not, popping off on my phone, saying, at Toys R Us, they know that I have a 5-year-old son. Toys R Us is giving away coupons, and it's literally exploding on my phone, for a coupon. Yeah, I have a coupon right now. Turn, hurry up. Cut this guy off. How does he know there's a guy in front of me? It's amazing. You're like, where's the camera? So, that's what it's come down to. Yeah, well, no, you can make your life really miserable if you sign up for the wrong apps on an iPhone. The thing will it'll explode in your pocket, with all these types of offers for you, because there's a marketer on the other end going, this is gonna be great, they're gonna buy everything. They're not gonna buy anything. Really what it comes down to is getting your message right to the right people. So that's what we're trying to do. Inbound marketing is not about banging somebody over the head with, I'm trying to sell you this. What it's about is about coming up with authentic information about what it is that you do, right? You want that information, this is what I honestly do for a living, this is what I sell, or this is a service or product that I sell, this is what it does, and this is information about it. And I'm giving you this information freely, and what I'd like to have is an exchange, if possible, but if not, that's fine too, because sometimes I give away stuff on the websites that I run, and I don't ask for anything. I want to be a resource. I want people to trust me, and I want them to like me. And then later on, maybe they'll buy something from me. But who they won't buy stuff from is they won't buy stuff from people that they don't trust. Like, for instance, has anybody ever, bought any major piece of electronics online lately? You have? Okay. Did you research it online? You research it in the store and online. Now, did you see it online at a particular website for a little bit less than where you actually wound up buying it?
Well, actually, the store clerk was able to tell me it'll be a lot less online.
Okay.
Get it online, so I went online and compared it with others that have a little scanner thing to see who else was selling it.
Mhm.
What, and that was the best buy.
Oh, so it worked out for you. You got it online. It was the best buy. Now, if that website looked like it was shady, would you have bought it?
No, but I knew the store.
You knew the store. It was like maybe you bought it from maybe you bought it from like a Best Buy online or whatever. Costco online. Okay, perfect. It was a trusted brand. But has anybody bought anything from a maybe a store online that they're not really familiar with? It's not like a Best Buy. It's not whatever. But their store was online. Have you? Okay. Now, would you have bought from them if their website looked shady? No, no way. I've paid, $100 to $200 more for literally a piece of equipment because I didn't like the website. The website made me nervous, right? So I have to trust who I'm buying from, right? We're not going to, I'll buy, I'll buy the if it's only $50 difference to buy a camera or a TV, I'm going to get it from Best Buy online before I get it from, Tom's House of, Hardware, and whatever. Because I don't know them, and maybe their site's not really up to snuff, and it might be $50 cheaper, but what am I getting for that $50? Maybe a whole bunch of headaches. I can't return it. I can't, So I'm going to go with what I know, right? It's about trust. It's about likability. Okay, so attracting these customers, and I know we go through this, but I'll hit just the big bullet points about this, because this one's important. Knowing who your customers are, and really defining who they are, right? This goes, Mr. Freeholder, this goes right down to politics too, right? You want to know who your constituents are, who are the people that like you, who are the people that are going to put you in office. You want to know about them so that you can go find more of them, right? I want those people. I want the people who trust and like me. I want to know who they are and what they're like, so I can go find more of them and then be where they're at, right? Whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's I want to know who they are. Can someone just throw out what they do, what they sell, what their business is? Just go ahead.
I manufacture parts for woodworkers and cabinet makers, so I'm a wholesale distributor for them.
Okay, a wholesale. All right. So if you didn't hear him, he's a wholesaler. He manufactures parts for woodworkers and cabinet makers. Okay, that's pretty specific. Okay, so even though there's a lot, I'm sure you have a lot of competition or whatever it may be, but generally it's pretty specific. The target is you're not going after metal workers. You're not going after auto mechanics, right? We can kind of throw away a lot of different people, right? Right? So we can create a very specific message for a very specific type of person. Maybe it's somebody now. Woodworkers. Do you know what your average age of your customer is? Is it all over the board?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so it is. But some people have very specific, you know what? A lot of my demographic is between the ages of 40 and 60. Well, we can stay off of certain social media sites that cater to a younger crowd. We can kind of just eliminate it because you know what? The chances of us, it takes time and effort to send your message all over the place. Whether I know it's free to click a button, but it's not free to create the content that you need to put behind that click and post there, right? Somebody's taking the time to put that, whether it's you or you're paying somebody else like me to do it or just saying, or whatever, whether, listen, we don't have to pull any punches, right? We're cool. All right. So, but the point that I'm trying to make, you make the message very specific to what you're looking for, and then you're going to capture those people that are looking for what it is that you do best. And they're going to look to you as a resource for this information, right? So maybe you have on your website, first of all, if you have a website, the first thing that you want to do, and I will say this, and this is to Greg's point, get a video on the first page of your website. Do not do that. Put a video on it, because just by virtue of having the video there, still to this day, even though Google's redone everything in the past year, it still likes video. So my advice is to host the video on YouTube. Hope you're writing this down. Host the video on YouTube and have the player on your front page. That's probably the strongest pull you can get, because Google is at the top of its game. It knows that you're on YouTube. It knows, it's directly talking to its two search engines that it owns, right? It's a good thing for you. It's going to help differentiate you. The reason I want to show you this is not only am I intimately familiar with this company, but it's a water treatment company. It's so specific. It's boring. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to? It's industrial water treatment services. They treat the water chemically inside cooling towers and boilers. And who cares about this? Nobody cares about this except for the people that do, right? And when they go online, right? It's a very specific buyer persona that I'm targeting with this website. Okay, when they go online, and they look for things like, cooling tower clean. Let's say for instance, okay, I own a business, a building, and on top of it is a cooling tower. That thing needs to be cleaned twice a year. It's supposed to be cleaned twice a year. So I might be, as a building owner, even though I know nothing about this, I might need to know who cleans cooling towers, right? Well, this company is number one on Google for it, on the planet, not just in New Jersey. It is, worldwide, number one. And it's because of the content that's on my blog about it, speaks to, why you should do it. It's free information. I'm not selling anything, but I will show you this. This is, I'll go back to, I'm going to show you a couple different spots on this website to just show you what it can do. Now, first of all, yes, this is a picture from the Terminator 2. For those of you that are not familiar with this movie, that man is now made out of metal and he exploded. It's fantastic. But the point about this, all right, the point about this blog post is that it's made something that's very boring not so boring, It has all the facts. Thermal shock in your steam boiler will ruin your new year. If you own a steam boiler in a generation plant or a commercial facility and that thing explodes, it's going to give you a bad day. That's not going to happen, but that doesn't matter. What does matter is that there is a very, very specific description of what will happen inside there on video, right? If I keep going down, I'll show you what thermal shock actually is. I have a little kid that takes a hot, glass and pours cold water on and it explodes. It's interesting information for somebody that's looking for this type of thing. Go ahead, you had a question.
Question on the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to pay for that?
I bought it from one of the sites that lets you, yeah. So it wasn't expensive though, because I didn't do the whole thing, right? So, now if I go down to the bottom of my blog, all right, this information to you might be boring, but it's about boilers. And what do I have at the bottom of my blog? All right, I have something here that says, if you'd like to learn more about the common mistakes that you can avoid in your boiler room, please use the link below to download our free ebook, 10 Huge Mistakes Facilities Make in Boiler Operation, How to Avoid Them. Now, to you would probably never hit that button if you don't have a need, but to somebody that is operating a boiler, that is a very strong call to action. It's a cool book. It's free. It doesn't cost me anything. You hit the button and you go to a landing page that captures your first name and your email address, which is really all I need. I give you the chance to subscribe to my blog if you'd like to learn more about other stuff that I post. Okay? This is what's going on, and what is that person? As soon as he hits that button, he is a what for me? A lead, right? So I'm just going to go back to the home page. I just want you to know that I practice what I preach. That is my little video on my home page. So just so you know, everything I'm telling you to do, I do. So that's the first part of it. That's getting people there. That's the first two parts, and that's converting them into leads. So we'll just flip past this. Hold on a sec.
So Josh, how would you target facilities managers as an example, right? Because facilities managers would be people that would need this kind of service.
You think about it like this. Most likely, if you're a facility manager and you're online, right, you're going to type in a search for something that you need at your facility. If it's water treatment and you're going to search it into Google, I want to be highly placed on those search. So the search engines are important to me. The other place that's important to me is LinkedIn. All right? This blog, if you go to my company's LinkedIn page, immediately the minute that this blog posts on my website, it is also being projected on LinkedIn. And this is what I'll tell you about social media marketing, all that stuff, all right? Because a lot of you came out to hear about, so how do I use the social media to really what you want to do is sell to people. You don't put things, you can, okay? You can use Twitter all day long, and you can send out 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 tweets all day long. But if you're not linking it back to your website, if the actual material that these people are consuming are not at your website, then you have very limited capabilities in A, tracking them, B, converting them into anything, giving them a call to action that's going to turn them into a lead, and then later on continuing to market directly to them. Now that you've identified them as somebody that's interested in what you're selling, you cannot market them if you just had this oh, we passed like 2 ships in a night on Facebook. It was so nice to meet you, but I don't remember you because I'm on to the next thing. So you want to be able to capture those people on your site. You want to be able to create a form and a strong call to action that is going to make them fill something out so that they will then, in your particular case, you might want to send them, a free PDF of, your most recent catalog. If you'd like the catalog, please fill in your information and download it right from the site. Now you know that somebody just took that's a prospect for you, right? You probably do that already. Just put the catalog. You want to capture their email. Yeah, because that in and of itself is just very easy for you to do. That doesn't take, you don't have to buy, all this type of automation or anything like that in order to do any of that. You can literally just create whoever does your website for you can probably throw up a simple form. And do you do it yourself? All right. What do you use, may I ask? Yeah, a Mac and what kind of website? All right, so it's a simple site. Yeah, but you can create a form, on your page, on a landing page that is the first thing that they do before they're allowed to go to that page where they download. And that is what gives you their information. And that form just goes to a simple database, and then you might want to collect more than just an email address. You might want to get a first name, an email address, and maybe a phone number. Just saying. Sometimes they won't give it to you. Yeah. So most people give you an email address. Go ahead. You had a question?
I had a question about ebooks,
Mhm.
because I blog, so at what point in time does that become big enough to be an ebook to make it work? But if someone's going to be disappointed, they give you your information, like how big?
Like, they said it was going to be an ebook, and I only got 3 pages. Well, number one, there's no hard and fast rule. It's not like there's ASAMDM that says that, for it to be an ebook, it has to be 44.5 pages long. Now, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. So what you need to have is you need to put yourself in your customer's shoes or your prospect shoes. Like what can I send to them that's of value to them? That's not like I'm trying to pull the wool over their eyes. I don't want to say that I'm giving you a marketing ebook if it's a 2-page pamphlet. But I can give them a PowerPoint. I can give them a slide deck. I can give them a white paper on, that's 2 pages long. That's about a very specific thing. I can say here, 2-page roadmap to, marketing success or whatever it may be, or a 2-page, tell them what it is. It's free if you want it. If you like this see, a lot of the times the ebook is not what's getting them to the site. It's that blog post. right, that they saw on my LinkedIn account, right? It showed up because by the way, does anybody that's on LinkedIn, does anybody try to actively sell in LinkedIn? Anybody? Oh, we got to talk. All right. On LinkedIn, there are going to be cabinet makers, okay? They probably, maybe not a lot, I don't know. But on LinkedIn, there's going to be cabinet makers. Or people, what's a big trade organization that a cabinet maker would belong to? Cabinet and Closet Association. They have an association. I guarantee you the association itself is a group on LinkedIn. I guarantee it, all right? Now, you're going to go on LinkedIn later on. You on LinkedIn? You're going to be on LinkedIn later on. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to find the Cabinet Makers Association on LinkedIn, and you're going to join it. And you know what? The next time you decide to post something very interesting about what it is that you sell, you're gonna post it. You know, you're not going to sell anything there, but you're going to sell information, free information, like why brass pull handles are better than wooden ones, or whatever it may be. And somebody's going to click on it, and it's going to go back to your website, and they're going to see your stuff, and then your call to action is going to be download my catalog. All right? And that person is going to effectively go from somebody that you've never met, but you've identified on LinkedIn as somebody who is a cabinet maker, so it's a very specific target, right? He's a cabinet maker, right? He downloaded I'm getting all these signs that this guy might want to buy something from me. He's a cabinet maker. He'd been to my website. He downloaded my book. He's got my catalog in his hand. But based on his LinkedIn profile, he looks like he might be somebody who, maybe owns a big company, and you know what I mean? Like, it could be huge for you, right? So that's the type of stuff that you need to be thinking about in LinkedIn. Find the groups that buy your stuff. I was with a company the other day. They sell a device that when you use it with braces, it makes your teeth straighter faster, right? It's actually archaic and crazy when I tell you about this thing. I'm just going to explain to you real quick. So let's say, for instance, you have braces, right? It takes 2 years for your teeth to go straight. They have this little device that the doctor uses inside your dentist can use it with Invisalign, right? They drill these little tiny holes in your, under your gum into the bone, and right? It sounds disgusting and horrible, doesn't it? But it goes from 2 years of braces to 6 months. Hello, right? Hello, prom. I'm there. You know what I mean? It's a big deal, right? So they're like, well, we don't really know how to get it in front of dentists. I go, are you on LinkedIn? And they're like, well, yeah. Oh, do you belong to any groups on LinkedIn? What's that? Well, let's just take a look while we're here. Oh, look, in America alone, the American dentistry, people that belong to that group, there's 150,000 doctors on it, dentists. I go, I would just post something right into that group and call it a day. My services are done, you know what I mean? And by the way, they're already seeing traction from that because it's very specific. It's fantastic, what you can do with LinkedIn. So if you're not using it and it pertains to your buyer, right? Because it all comes down to your buyer. If you're selling lollipops, you're not going to go onto LinkedIn, right? Because, well, maybe you are. I don't know, but it depends. I guess it depends on what they're shaped like. But it doesn't. But right? No, I'm serious. Like if you shape them like a car and it's a car company, what are you thinking? That one right there. Watch her. You watch. All right. So anyway, let's just go back to this website for a second. I want to talk about. Yes, go ahead.
What's my customer doing on LinkedIn? Do people go on there just to get sold to?
No. What they're doing is they're doing what I just told you to do. They want to network with people that either are like them in the sense that they can recruit, or they want to network with people that could potentially buy from them. I use it all the time because, think about it. Anybody that has a website and is selling something is a potential customer for me. Now, I like to stay in certain verticals generally, but I can pretty much help anybody sell anything online. So I have this huge barrel of people that I can go with. So if I find the director of, internet marketing for a particular larger company or just an entrepreneur that I can see is struggling, it's not difficult. You go to their website and you say, whoa, this guy needs my help. You know what I mean? I do that all day long, and honestly, I don't even have enough time to do it. That's the goal it is for me. For you, it might not be as strong, I'm not sure, but my guess is that if there's an organization that's on a group, it allows you to target market. Like when you post something on, let's say, Facebook, right, your company website, there's no way to categorize the people that are gonna look at that in a particular vertical that has to do with what they do for a living, right? There's no real way to do that effectively. There are ways to kind of tweak it and push it and balance it, but at the end of the day, you can't really say, I'm going to target this to all the woodworkers on Facebook. It's just very difficult to do. There might be a woodworker that sees it, but they're not necessarily going to, she's going to miss the best part. So anyway, no, I'm kidding. I already gave you the best part of the first thing I said. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that on Facebook, right? You don't have that level of, I can target this type of client that has this type of job and is in this part of this business segment as easily as you can on LinkedIn. So, like I said, when you go on there later on and you fill out the thing and you put your profile online, and by the way, fill out your profile really well, really make it look like, put your picture on there, do the whole thing, like really get into it, like drink the Kool-Aid, okay, it's time. I don't care how old you are, drink it. You're gonna be online on Facebook, you're gonna be texting with your friends later on, it's gonna be great. Anyway, point. Right. Wait, if you have a problem, you call me. I'm going to give you my phone number. I'll just tell you what to do. Anyway, point that I'm trying to make to you specifically is that you're going to find the Woodworkers Association on LinkedIn, and it's going to be, a number of people. And there might even be certain factions of it that are in certain states, like there might be a Woodworkers Association or a Woodworkers Union or whatever in New Jersey or New York. There might be even people that you can, hey, let's catch a beer or whatever it may be, you know what I mean? And you'll probably find a lot of people that already do business with you who you'll become friends with. You'll link to them. You'll see their profiles. I do business with, such and such corporation. I know the president. I've been out to dinner with him. He's on LinkedIn. I'm going to link myself to him. And now, he's going to say, you'll be like, hey, can you do me a favor, Tom? Next time you're on LinkedIn, can you just write me a little endorsement that says, that you really like our product and you trust it and its quality? Yeah, no problem. And they do, and it goes a long way. Believe it or not, it goes a long way. That's testimonial. That's kind of like, it's worth it. Okay. I want to tell you, just go ahead.
The LinkedIn and Facebook, is that only for personal, or can I join, use my company name?
Okay. You can have a company page on Facebook, or you can have a page for anything on Facebook. If you're a singer, there was a singer here earlier, if you want to have a page on Facebook because you're a singer, you want to have a page on Facebook if you own a restaurant, any of that stuff, you can do that on Facebook. That was, Facebook has been trying to add tools in that and there for tracking because they're really trying to monetize Facebook. That's why if you are on Facebook, you're seeing more and more ads these days. People are trying to get you to download apps and buy stuff. It's hinky and it's disruptive, so it's not going to work that great. But that being said, you can do it. You can utilize it. And what kind of business do you have, may I ask? Medical billing. Okay. So, chances are you're going to have more luck by putting your company on LinkedIn, right? And you'll also have more luck by looking for doctors and anybody that's going to use your services on LinkedIn, and then joining the groups that they belong to, and then posting content into your group that lives on your website, like a link to it, that lives on your website that says, this is the top 10 reasons why you shouldn't try to do your own billing, and whatever it may be. And then, sure enough, you're going to get a doctor or whatever to go to your website, and they're going to be like, oh, this guy looks legit. So what's the benefit, right? So one of the companies that I mentioned earlier when I talk about marketing automation, because when I tell you there's so many sophisticated tools, and it really depends on your level of listen, if you have a small business and you have a limited budget, this type of stuff might not make sense for you. What I just described to you always is going to make sense for you. It is your marketing plan online. It is going to be the strongest marketing plan that you ever do ever in your entire life. And the reason is because when that stuff lives on your website, the stuff that you publish to your blogs, the videos that you create, right, all that stuff, it lives there forever. You think of them as business assets, like buying a building, like buying, right? They live there forever, and they're going to always give you some benefit. Some are going to do better than others. It's, you're going to have a redheaded stepchild over there. No offense to any redheads. You know what I mean? There's going to be one. No offense. So she gave me a look like, you're going to get it. No. You're always going to have one that doesn't perform as much, but you're always going to have the one that does. You know what I mean? I know I've offended like most of the people in this audience, but the point that I'm trying to make about having that stuff live online is that you create it today, right? And it lives on for you, like as long as your website exists, and you can use it later on. Go ahead.
So, are you taking it down when you change it out?
No. In a blog, it's linear. So if I create a video, right? I might change the video out on my home page of my website, sure. Yeah, absolutely. But you know where that video is also going to live the minute that I take it off my home page? It's going to live on YouTube, right? It's going to live with Google. Google is going to have it. And not only that, but I'm also going to take that video and I'm going to be like, oh, like my blog post today is going to be, we changed our video from this video to this video, and it's going to be in my blog. So it's still going to live on my website. Maybe I've moved it, but it's still going to live there, right? And it's always going to be searchable, and it's always going to be findable. Let's talk about this real quick. HubSpot is one of the marketing automation tools that is very, they've embraced the whole inbound marketing culture online. They create, they have a very sophisticated software, and I'm not suggesting that anybody goes out and buys HubSpot today. There's a bunch of different programs out there. I just happen to like their content. In fact, most of the stuff that I just showed you, those little graphics, I've literally just stole right from their site with their permission. But just don't call them and ask them. Anyway, and I will tell you that I did this at 12 o'clock last night. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make you about this, about water technologies, that water treatment company that most of you in this room find boring, right? Well, these are their biggest competitors, their biggest ones, and this is what they look like online. Nalco is the biggest one in the world. Ashland and GE Water are just about as big, a little bit smaller, and ChemTreat is also the biggest one. One of the biggest ones in the United States and the biggest one in their market. They are a little fish in a big, big, big pond. It is, like when I talk about it's so niche market, you can imagine that there are people that fight for the customers, right? Okay. So 2012, I started creating content online for them and posting things. I set up a blog on their website, which I showed you. And this is where they were at the very beginning of 2013. 100 is the best holistic marketing grade score you can get, a 100, right? It doesn't mean that you capture more leads. It doesn't mean that your website is bigger. It doesn't mean that you have the most indexed pages. It doesn't mean but it's based on part of what your SEO does, how you're actually putting your content out there, and really the power that you have to attract and convert people, right, to what it is that you're trying to do, right? And they've came up with this very sophisticated algorithm to figure it out, and it's pretty accurate. So this was January, the first month, okay? So we're on an upward trend, hooray, right? Nalco happened to be on a downward trend just because of whatever they were doing on their website. And this company, based on what we were posting online and putting out on social media, this is where we were at the end of the year. And today, ChemTreat's got a score of 44. Ashland and GE Water have a score of 46, which is, middle of the road. Nalco is doing a little bit better at 52, and we're crushing it at 78. And what does it mean? What is it? If I can give you what does that mean to the business, okay? Well, this is what it means to, what is business? Over the course of 1 year, whoa, go back there, that's what I wanted. Good. All right, so visitors have gone up 350%. 350% more people are on this website. It's a water treatment company, all right? Leads have gone up 12 1,200%. I almost said 1,000, but I didn't. 1,200%. I'm not a mathematician. I'm just a marketing guy. So leads that come through the website are 10 times more. This is the other best part about the leads that you get when you do your marketing like this. You have to remember that it all goes back to the target, right? You are targeting the content that you're creating for a very specific buyer, right? It's a very specific person that you're targeting. If you put that in the places where they're looking for it, and they find it, and they come to you, you've almost already won. Now you just have to capture their information and talk to them, engage with them, give them something. Sally earlier said, and I wrote it down, offer information unselfishly. That's what you need to do in your businesses. You need to give people something, right? You need to be unselfish with your offerings. Give them stuff. It's what I said about the redheads, and I'm sorry. I'm going to make it up to you, I promise. This is the takeaway. Inbound marketing, what I just described to you, it works. It really works. I just showed you one website. I consult for Better Homes and Gardens. I know whatever. I'm not a guru or anything like that. This is not a concept that I came up with. This is something that I just do, and I do it all the time, and I know it works because I do it all the time. And so it doesn't just happen. You can't leave here today and not do anything I just described. Figure out who your customers are. Look at your website. Create a piece of content that speaks directly to those buyers and put it on your front page. Let Greg help you do that, right? When it comes to capturing those people once they've been to your site, go online and start researching. Maybe you have the budget to have automation on your site. Look into it. HubSpot, Marketo. These are all companies that do it. If you don't know what to do, call me. My phone number is on the next slide. All right, but it's all by creating and delivering content that will appeal precisely to the right people, which are the buyer personas that we talked about earlier. You really want to get those. You want to nail who it is that is buying your stuff. You want to get that right. You want to get them in the right places, social media and search engines, where they are. You're going to go where the people are, right? We're not going to fish in the lake that's got no fish in it. We're going to go where all the fish are. Come on, let's go to the lake with the fish, right? At just the right times, and that means you're going to market these guys, right? If you do, all right, get more sophisticated, because what we talked about was kind of like stage one, but really where this thing starts, you start to get more and more business. You start to kind of like I did a long time ago, drink the Kool-Aid and say, wow, this really works. I'm going to create more content. I'm really going to embrace this whole, creating content for a specific audience because it brings me people, and then I'm going to figure out a really cool thing to give them so that I know who they are, and I'm going to track them now, right? Well, once I start tracking them, then I start to figure out what their life cycle is. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Right? Their life cycle as far as where are they in their buying cycle or whatever it may be. To some of you it means one thing, to others it might mean something else. For a beautician or a hairdresser, it might mean that, I know that they were a customer and I know that they got their haircut, 3 weeks ago. It's time to send them an email to have them come back. In fact, we just spoke to somebody that set up that program for Supercuts now. Supercuts, if for anybody that ever goes to I don't go to Supercuts, but if you go to Supercuts, you go in the door and they get your email address. They're gonna beat that email address out of you before you leave, because everybody who's in a Supercuts, whatever, their parent company has now embraced the fact that they can start to monitor, when somebody's looking at them online, if they're interested in a haircut, if there's a particular product that they want or whatever it may be, and the last time they were there for a haircut. So they're marking them at the very precise times that they know it's 3.7 weeks or whatever it may be when somebody's going to need their next haircut, and we've been tracking that, right? So that's all I got. If there's anybody that wants to talk to me for more about it, please call me or check out my website. If you want to download some free stuff, I can show you all that. But anybody have any questions? What's my telephone number? Want my personal one or my business one? It's right there. Do you have my handout? I'm going to give you my card.
Because I don't,
It's on the front page. Flip to the front page, right there. Joshua Baty. No, all right, here, it's 201-788-6033. By the way, that's my cell phone number. You can call me whenever you want. All right, just tell me that you met me here, and I will help you.
One more time.
201-788-6033. I'll also give you a business card. If you would not, if you feel like that's what you want from me, I will give you that. Promise. Anything else? Any other questions? Thank you very much for having me.
I know we ran a little over, but we had such fabulous speakers. Thank you so much for staying. Josh, thank you so much. You were fabulous. Thank you. Great sense of humor. And I know I'll go more into LinkedIn. I appreciate it. Again, special thank you to Graystack and Video Marketing Group for giving us our wonderful refreshments this morning. Don't forget, our next seminar is March 20th for contractors and real estate developers, best practices, how to secure financing and bonding. And thank you all for coming. I really very much appreciate it. Have a great day. Take care.